there's one more.
This is TWIS, This Week in Science, episode number 468, recorded on Thursday, June 12th, 2014. Dude, it's bro science. Hey everyone, I am Dr. Kiki, and today we're going to fill your head with some faces, things that don't fit the standard, and copulatory plugs. But first...
Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. The world as we know it is not the world as it once was. Yes, it is the same size, give or take a few space probes and an unknown tonnage of meteorite additions. Yes, it orbits the same sun and is orbited by the same moon it always has been. But if you take a closer look, you will find a very distinct difference between the world of today and that whimsical world of just 100 or so years ago. The change is most evident from space. When the dark side of the Earth reveals itself to be not so dark after all, a once technologically primitive planet has in such short a period of time become a shiny beacon of intelligent life in a solar system otherwise devoid of space probes, interplanetary robots, and refrigerated beverages. What brought about this change? You did! Human beings of planet Earth are thinkers, and not just your average Earth thinkers either. You humans have by far the best thinking your planet has ever produced. Well done! Can't wait to see what you come up with in the future. As a reward for your brainy efforts, we offer you This Week in Science, coming up next.
I've got the kind of mind I can't get enough. I want to learn everything. I want to fill it all up with new discoveries that happen every day of the week. There's only one place to go to find the knowledge I seek. I want to know what's happening. What's happening? What's happening this week in science? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening this week in science?
Good science to you, Kirsten and Blair, and Chad.
Good
Hello.
science to you, Justin and Blair and Chad.
Yeah!
Yeah! We are once again bringing you a show full of science. That's what we do, we talk about science. And we have a guest today. His name is Chad King, and he does stuff underwater. He likes
That's
things. Yes. Yeah, he also podcasts a little bit too, so, you know. Yeah, welcome to the show. Tell everyone just a little bit about yourself, Chad.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm totally stoked. A long-time listener, first-time guest, as they say. I work for the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. It's a branch of NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. And so we basically manage a big federal marine park, if you want to call it that, except not many people can visit there as easily as Yellowstone or something else. And so I'm a biologist with them, so I do a lot of research with them, a lot of scuba diving, most recently a lot of deep sea research, and kind of dabble in a lot of other things, filmmaking and audio podcasting and web stuff, all that. So I've been there for about 12 years, and I just love my job. It's jack of all trades, master of none, but I couldn't imagine another job. So I'm real excited.
That's awesome. Jack of all trades, master of none, but always having fun. That's what it sounds like.
That's the thing. That's the thing. I can never finish one project to its full potential, but that's okay. Boredom is not a problem in my job.
That's good. So let's get people out of boredom. This is the time to be excited about science and to be moving forward with filling your head with ideas and inspiration for how to live your life, or I don't know, how to live like a spider. I'm not sure.
Haha.
But we have a bunch of great stories and the interview coming up with Chad so he can tell us what he did recently in the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary just this last week. Stories that I've got, faces, they can take a licking according to some, and according to others, dude, that's bro science. Additionally, stars are hot and they might foster life. So there you go. Justin, what do you have?
I have misbehaving galaxies, synchronized brains, And either something that makes you sleepy but is good for your bones.
Oh.
Or something
Very-
else. I have a couple other backup stories.
And Blair, what do you have?
I have spiders, oxytocin, and the Ice Age.
Oh, I was waiting for you to say spiders again.
No, just two
Spiders.
spiders this week. I'm playing it light with the spiders this week. Just two.
Just two.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's not go too lightly into the world of science. Let's punch it like men have been doing to each other for years, which, according to all the popular science literature out there, is why men's faces look the way they do. They evolved to be punched.
Wait a second.
Yeah. So according to a theoretical article in Biological Reviews entitled "Protective Buttressing of the Hominin Face," the authors David Carrier and Michael Morgan posit that based on looking at ancient fossils of hominins and humans now, that our faces, the bones within our faces, or not necessarily ours, because I'm not talking about the female face, I am talking specifically about the male face, that it evolved to have increased robustness because I guess they published another paper last year that also posits that the fists are made to be weapons. So male hands meant to be weapons, and faces meant to be punched and take it. Justin, you had a response to that?
Well, okay. My first thought would be I would want to go back in time a little bit. And I would want to see if a modern male face takes a punch better than an ape, for instance. Because it seems to me, with having a more pronounced nasal bone, we may be less likely to take a punch decently. Or maybe actually be the opposite. Maybe having that bone protects the nasal cavities or nasal area from getting swollen by a punch. I don't know, but I would want to punch a few apes before I really came to that final conclusion.
I think you're hitting the nail on the head of what Brian Switek, an anthropologist, paleontologist who publishes the blog Laylaps over at the National Geographic Phenomena blogs. He responded to this study saying basically the same thing. Hey, look at the human face now. No, it's not as robust looking as our ancestors. It seems like there was more robustness happening, and that we are not doing that anymore. And he also says that, hey, why aren't we doing some actual tests? We don't have evidence of fractures in bones that could have been in fossilized bones that could have come from these punches. There's a lot of evidence that isn't necessarily there, and so the bro science reference it comes from Brian, and he says females don't even figure into Morgan and Carrier's hypothesis. Female mate choice and why sexual dimorphism between the sexes has drastically decreased through time is either ignored or overshadowed by the belief that we owe our most distinctive features to males walloping each other. Mm-hmm. This is bro science. Dudes pummeling each other, driving human evolution.
This might be the first original Fight Club, because the first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about it, so they're just trying to discover it right now. Yeah, this seems a little corny to me. I mean, it does seem like the old primate faces are a little bit more robust than our faces now, and I know that I've taken one punch in my life and didn't feel very robust. So.
Well, is that what they're saying? Or are they saying that the human face evolved to be what it is, and males and females, their faces looked like a human face, and then it kind of took this turn, and then the males became more robust later on. So we got our nose, we got our delicate cheekbones, but then later the males got thicker skulls, I guess, is the point, right? So, I mean, I could kind of understand that.
But I would expect that actually that women would have come up with a more robust face for punching, because it seems like there was probably, more domestic violence in our
Not
past.
to the face.
Then why not? It's the part that keeps yapping at me.
Oh boy.
This is
Wow.
it's just as bad, right?
I was gonna say medieval times, men would fight for prizes and for sometimes females, right? So it makes sense that mate choice could play a role in being able to take a punch.
Yeah, it's interesting also. I mean, the thing that drives the formation of the bone structure, the thicker jaw of males, has to do with hormone levels, and so there's something to do with higher testosterone levels leading to these kinds of features. And what would have led that change to take place? Why evolutionarily would that path have taken a step? And so it's interesting that they are that they're looking at this, and it's fun also because if you look at the comments in the blog post, Brian's blog post, the authors of the paper actually respond, and they take Brian to task, and David Carrier actually comes out saying that all hypotheses start out as stories. Some of these hypotheses turn out to be good hypotheses, and some good hypotheses turn out to impact our understanding. And so what he is saying that they were trying to do is to move their field forward and to move people's way of their prescribed way of thinking about this sexual dimorphism between males and females into a new I guess a different realm. Could this possibly have happened? And he says that they do cover the literature and that they have a lot of support for their idea. That the thing though, there's another comment that I think is interesting about the hands, that as doctors who see a lot of broken fingers and hands, I think would argue that the male fist or male hand probably was not evolved to be a weapon.
We're going to have to leave this story behind though, because I just got an email from the TWIS HR department that I'm going to meet with them directly after the conclusion of this episode. So
that's right. HR just phoned Justin. Yeah. So it's interesting. I think this is a really interesting. It's not a just so story, and don't look at what comes out in the media and what is published as this is exactly how it is. We don't know exactly what happened, and somebody's trying to come up with an evolutionary explanation for why there is a difference between males and females in the way that we look.
But this is a media fodder type story, and watch it get more press than anything else that comes from science this week. Right? This will be the one.
It did. It was the big story. My second kind of fun evolutionary story takes to the skies and goes out into the universe. A study out of Cornell University suggests that it's an analysis of the Milky Way galaxy and taking a look at the different kinds of planets and number of stars and which ones might be capable of supporting life. And we've covered this kind of story before. And they came up with a new number that 100 million life-giving planets might exist in the Milky Way galaxy.
Man, that's nothing.
Yeah. But then on top of that, to top that one off, there's a post in Ars Technica this week asking, why haven't we encountered aliens yet? And the answer could be climate change. And this, the author of this, David Waltham, discusses the paradox that, if there is all this life out there, especially if there are 100 million planets that could support life in the Milky Way galaxy alone, why are we not meeting that other life? And the suggestion is that it's not climate change per se, that the beings on these exoplanets are messing their planets up and, causing anthropogenic, I'm air quotes right now, anthropogenic climate change, but that the suns in each of these solar systems with these life-supporting planets are going to be going through stages in which, like our own sun, where it's burning hotter and hotter and hotter, and very possibly they burn hotter faster than our own sun, depending on the size of the sun and the amount of fuel that it's got to burn. And so we might have that 100 million number out there, but maybe some of them are already starting to burn up because of their proximity to their star and the life stage that their star is in.
That's one possibility, right? But that's a lot. That's usually, I don't know, maybe if they follow our same path of technology, maybe it's not any different, right? A couple of the other things, of course, is if technology increases, so does the ability to self-destruct. You know,
it is true.
Right? So there's all the regular planetary conditions. There's the technology foibles. Plus, they're just really far away, and they're so far away. These other solar systems that could possibly have life in them. And we've only been broadcasting a very short time anything that could have reached them. So there's the whole problem of them even knowing why they would visit this solar system in the first place out here. And we're in the boonies, on top of everything else. We're way out in the boonies, which might make it easier for planet Earth or our solar system to have less chaos of, running into other debris or whatever that could be out there in a more densely packed region of space. But also, we're so far out in the outskirts that the density of the potential for there to be life on some of these other solar systems out there is really far away from us.
Yeah, I also think it's a question of time too, because there's, where we've been around for what, 4.5 billion years, but the galaxy or the universe, as far as we know, has been around for 13+ billion years, and so there's plenty of solar systems that have actually been born long before us and have died already. Likewise, there are current stars and planets being born right now, so it's also kind of where we line up in the timeline of all these galaxies. So 100 million habitable planets, but some of them may be old, or some of them may be new, or haven't even been born yet. So I think I know that we're just talking about Milky Way right now. We all kind of were born at the same time, but it certainly speaks to the billions of planets out there in the universe.
Right.
Well, and there's life, and there's intelligent life, and there's intelligent life that can leave the planet, and there's intelligent life that can transmit signals. There's lots of different variables at stake here. And so you have 100 million planets that could hold life, but then how many of those just have little protozoas on them? And how many of them, like Justin was saying, have already burnt out all of their life-building potential? And I think that just because we have 100 million planets that can hold life does not mean that ET should have gotten here already.
And even if they were looking for an intelligent signal and they can travel in space and they have all this other technology, our signal that just started and is now going dark again, because as we get away from broadcast and radio and radar and start going digital, we're becoming more and more silent of a planet. But we've only been doing that for 60, 70 years, something like that this signal's even been going out, which translates into light years. 50, 60 light years isn't that far from our solar system to have reached any but a few stars, right? So there's a whole lot of reasons. And then we have to, maybe they did see us. Maybe they potential.
Yeah, pass.
Yeah. Maybe in 10,000 years, if they're still there, we'll drop a line.
All right, everybody, this is This Week in Science. Justin, what did you bring?
So this is a story that's of badly behaving galaxies. This is a satellite dwarf galaxies at the edge of the Milky Way and neighboring Andromeda are defying the accepted model of galaxy formation. All attempts to figure it out model-wise have come up flawed. This is a report by an international team of scientists. The mismatch raises questions about the accuracy of the standard model of cosmology, widely accepted paradigm that for the origin and evolution of the universe. So the preprint of this research accepted for publication, this is in the monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society. It's online currently. The standard model is called the cold dark matter model, says that satellite dwarf galaxies in the Milky Way and Andromeda are expected to behave in a certain way. Galaxies would form in halos, dark matter would be widely distributed and would have to move in random directions. So, but what astronomers see, according to Marcel Pawlowski, postdoctoral researcher in the astronomy department at Case Western Reserve University, who is the lead author of this study, but what astronomers see is different. We see the satellite galaxies are in a huge disk and moving in the same direction within the disk, like the planets in our solar system moving in a thin plane in one direction around the sun. That's unexpected and could be a real problem. In the Milky Way, the dwarf galaxies and accompanying star clusters and streams of stars are in what's called the Magellanic Magellanic Plane, thank you. Or what authors of the vast polar structure in Andromeda, half of the satellites are in the Great Plain of Andromeda. So when they compared the simulations using their data to what is actually observed, they found a substantial mismatch. With computers, researchers simulated mock observations of thousands of Milky Ways using the same data as 3 previous papers. They found just 1 of 1,000 simulations matched what they actually observe in the Milky Way. So it's the chances that these 2 galaxies with huge disks of satellite galaxies is less than 1 in 100,000. Now, of course, we've done the math and we know there's plenty of galaxies to choose from. So being 1 in 100,000 puts you in pretty good company, right? But they couldn't figure out what the flaw was, why this was happening, or if it is a flaw. So the standard model contains various ingredients, dark matter and dark energy, which were introduced because the model wasn't consistent with observations. And they're kind of looking here and saying, well, dark matter is thought to be everywhere at the center involved in all these galaxies, and is and it's supposed to provide the galaxies with enough mass to prevent the speed of their rotation from pulling them apart and just flinging them out into space.
Right.
So if present, the unseen cloud of matter would be extremely unlikely to result in these structures. So they're suggesting an alternate, an older explanation for the satellite dwarf galaxies, and that is they're the leftovers of a collision between 2 galaxies. So these 2 galaxies collide and rip with them, keep with them the dark matter, the dark energy, the thing that adds that extra amount of gravity, and keep that with them and leave these little satellite galaxies behind. So because standard galaxies must contain dark matter, but tidal galaxies cannot contain dark matter. Very serious conflict and repercussion is we do not seem to have the correct theory of gravity.
Well, I mean, you look at physics and there's a debate within the community whether or not gravity comes from a particle called a graviton or whether it is an emergent property of the whole of physics. It's interesting. I mean, everything so far has been fitting this standard model. We have all of the right little pieces and parts, but it's interesting that, you know, there are these oddballs that it's like that just doesn't work and that doesn't fit, and so let's look more closely at this. And it's maybe by looking at something like this more closely, they'll figure out what is wrong with the model as it currently stands. Because obviously, even though there's a lot of stuff that's right, it's not all right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's gravity is a big one. Gravity is still, the more they found out about gravity, it still remained exceedingly elusive in its mechanics, why it exists, how it works.
Nice, very nice. All right, everybody. This is This Week in Science, and you know what time it is.
She loves our creatures, bright and small. Biped, millipede, no pet animal. Wanna hear about animals? She's your girl. giant pandas and squirrels that are both closer.
All right. This is my plan for today. We're going to have a little Animal Corner roller coaster ride. We're going to start with something a little disturbing, get a little more disturbing, and then end with something really sweet. All right?
Okay,
so
let's do this.
I'm starting, letting everyone know this. All right. So let's start with spiders that work together and have leadership roles. So
This is already bothering me.
Yeah, there's a type of spider
They're crawling on me.
called Stegodyphus dumicola, and they're social. They live in nests with more than 2,000 spiders. They hunt together, act collectively, and they subdue their prey in their sticky webs. They share what they catch. So, what's more, in a new study from the University of Pittsburgh, they looked at the personalities of individual spiders, which I know before we've done a story talking about how spiders have individual personalities. And they found that there are certain individuals that are bolder than others. And if you have bold individuals in this spider colony, their survival prospects are higher for the whole colony. And they call it boldness, quote unquote. Bolder individuals, they're usually females, and they're most likely to start the charge to subdue prey. They named these spiders keystone individuals.
They're important.
Yeah. And they found that colonies with bold keystone individuals have fitter members as a whole, and they measured that by mass of these spiders. They measured the mass of a nest of spiders of over 2,000 individuals.
If that equated to humans, the most fittest humans are probably live in the South.
Yeah. Well, they get the most
Fried
nutrients,
food.
I guess.
That's right.
I don't know. Body mass. It's they don't have cornstarch and corn sugars in the wild.
Spiderland.
Yeah. Otherwise, that would be a sound judgment for humans, too. I think it's all the corn products that throw us off. But regardless, having a keystone individual has a direct impact on fitness and survival of the whole colony. And that's because this keystone individual affects the decisions of all other spiders in that colony. When they move to subdue a prey, more individuals follow. And they embolden other spiders. So looking at that, they can kind of look at other organisms as
like people, perhaps.
Wow.
You're breaking up.
And you can see kind of a similar, leaders, right? We call these, oh no. So we call these leaders in our society, right?
Yes.
Not politicians, right?
But it is in humans, it is that leader personality. It is a politician.
Yes,
somebody who
politicians,
can
exactly.
gather people around them to rally for a cause. It could also be a coach. It could be, or the head of a team, a sports team. It could be, Braveheart.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking of a spider with blue paint on its face,
Right.
just rallying the cry.
Yes. Yeah.
Adorable.
It will never take off. McDonald's or something.
But you can see how we have these bold individuals. The question is their boldness working to the advantage of the society or not? So in spiders, being bold and grabbing prey is always going to be advantageous. But maybe in more complex societies, you make a bold decision that maybe is not advantageous, right?
Right.
So, yeah. So that's the original one. Spiders that work together and have leaders.
Have
Now we're gonna
leaders.
go-
And they have personalities, and
Yes.
they rally other spiders to
Yep.
their cause.
Correct. So now we're going to go further up this incline before the drop.
Okay, let's do this.
We've talked quite a bit about spider copulation on this show. So there are cannibalistic spiders, there are spiders that castrate themselves, we're going to talk a little bit about plugs. Chastity belts, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah. So spiders, the spiders they were looking at in here, dwarf spiders in this study, they were looking specifically at genital plugs that the males use to plug the copulatory ducts of females. It is a pretty successful mating strategy. It keeps other spiders from encroaching on the female once one spider has won his query. And what they found was that they're best when large and hard.
Great. The bigger the better for these.
Yes, which makes sense, right?
Oh man.
So they also wanted to figure out how
Stronger
these
the
plugs work.
chastity belt.
Yeah, the stronger
it'll
and
work.
larger, the better they work. And it turns out that this stuff is secreted as a liquid from male to female, and then it needs to harden. So the males have to kind of guard the female while it hardens. Because before that, unless it's not hard all the way, it won't work. And it has to withstand penetration, of course, right? So it has to be pretty hard.
It can't be removed either.
Cannot be removed. So they did trials where they let males copulate with a female, put in the liquid stage of this plug, and then they allowed remating trials. And they looked at females that had different sizes of plugs, that had been a different amount of time since the plug had been placed. And then they were scrutinized over a scanning electron microscope. And so small plugs were less effective than large plugs. Surprising. They were also less effective shortly after they were placed because they hadn't been hardened all the way. And as soon as it was older than a day, so these males had to guard the female over a day, and then they were pretty effective at monopolizing access to both ducts.
Well, this is much different than a one-night stand where the guy's out of there the next morning.
Yeah, this takes a
They
bit
gotta
of
stick around.
yeah.
They gotta cuddle. They gotta make breakfast. They gotta do all that stuff.
I have gone through this process. I was not eaten, and I am going to make sure that this works. Guard my female, and plug her up.
Oh man.
So little
I'm
glimpse
so
into
glad that we didn't evolve this kind of a mating strategy. I'm really glad.
I'm just glad we don't do traumatic insemination. That's the worst one.
Yeah. Could you
By far. I mean, on the lady side of things. On the man side of things, it's probably the self-castration. That's probably the worst.
That would be the worst, probably. Yeah.
We can
Hormone
wax poetic
strategies.
about copulatory strategies all day. Have I terrified everyone enough? Are we ready for the happy story?
Time for something soft and
Snogo in the chat room is asking why I'm remaining silent. It's according to the HR letter I got. I am not allowed any more demerits in this episode. So I'm trying to be cool.
Yeah. So now,
Bring us back, Blair. Bring us back. We're all freaked
We're
out.
at the brink.
Cuddly fluffies.
They're doing this bizarre copulation stuff, and now bring us back with something good. Is it a puppy story?
it is
It is. Yes.
puppies and oxytocin. What could be better? So,
Yay.
scientists at Tokyo University have found a successful oxytocin spray that causes dogs to display strong bonding behavior, both with people and other dogs. So they sprayed some dogs in the face with oxytocin spray and with salt water. And then they tested hormone levels. And they watched their interactions with humans and other dogs in between testing the hormone levels. And
I hope they did a control at first to make sure that some dogs weren't just friendlier than others to begin with. Right? I'm sure.
it's not outlined in here, but I'm sure it was in the National Academy of Sciences journal, so I'm fairly certain it was peer-reviewed.
It could have just been handed to somebody. Hey, publish this. Okay. It's got puppies in it.
I haven't really met very many standoffish puppies.
Well, this is what they tested, all right? So they tested their, quote, love hormone that in humans we associate with sexual arousal and social versus antagonistic behavior. So that's what we see in humans with oxytocin in previous studies. And so now they wanted to see if they saw the same thing in dogs and if more specifically it was related to bonding behavior. And so they found so this is what they did. They did a before and after with pet dogs. Mm-hmm. So that's how they knew based on behavior and hormone levels before the study and then after the study if it changed or not.
Things had changed, yeah.
Right. So like I said, they sprayed dogs with either oxytocin or salt water. And then they tested blood and urine and did very careful observations of behavior. And oxytocin levels in the dogs that were sprayed with oxytocin went up, but they went up more than it should have been just from the spray. So there was kind of a positive feedback loop happening. Once their body recognized more oxytocin, they were like, I'm excited now. I'm adding more oxytocin. So their body compensated by adding more. They also found noticeable changes in behavior. So they saw more pawing and sniffing and more eye contact between the dog and owner and the dog and other dogs. So this is what they would consider, quote, bonding behavior for these dogs.
Nice.
Yeah, and so, yes, it appears that we have found a love potion, and it's just oxytocin.
Just oxytocin, and it works with dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one thing I read in here was that they were testing the blood and urine every 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a little bit of cuddling and then getting poked and peeing on something and then a little cuddling and a little... I don't know how they do that with the dog.
Puppies pee every 5 minutes?
Or how they coax that. But
that's a way, if you don't want to have pets and your kid is asking for a pet, they're right there. You know they pee every 5 minutes. So you're
They could have catheterized the animals.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure that's what they did.
Probably had a venipuncture with catheter, and probably also a catheter going to the bladder to make it easy to collect urine. Yep. Simple. 5 minutes. Open up the spigots.
Whoop whoop.
I just pictured full-on faucets poking out of a dog.
Kiki, you just took us right back up the roller coaster of Blair's Animal Corner.
But it was
I'm glad to help.
Puppies in love. That's what the story was. But also, there's a sinister side to things. Maybe if you can get your hands on some oxytocin and spray it in the face of the person that you really like, maybe that might work to your advantage. I'm just saying.
Disclaimer.
People
this is not an endorsement of anything Blair's. Where's it? Blair, where's the HR? What did you hear what Blair said? How did she say stuff like
HR likes me, Justin. Don't worry about it.
Yes, no, oxytocin research in humans is mixed, and there are people who throw oxytocin parties where people will sniff oxytocin or take oxytocin pills. And the reactions are mixed. People are complex, and so it's not necessarily something that is going to lead to somebody wanting to bond with you. It's not just going to work that way. It's not a love potion per se, but it is interesting that it did have such a, definitive effect in these animals.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Puppy love. You can buy it in a bottle.
Yeah. It's more than just arousal, too, which is interesting. They had previously thought that in animals like dogs, it was just related to arousal, and it's obviously not. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely bonding. Yeah. I'm just imagining, like, advertisements. Puppy doesn't love you enough?
Spray him in the face with this oxytocin.
Just buy some oxytocin spray. Squirt, squirt. There you go. Puppy love.
Wow.
Does it work on cats, though? I'm guessing no.
I don't know.
If
Cats are too
puppies
fickle.
don't love you, you probably shouldn't have animals. That's what I'm thinking.
Touche.
All right. Does that do it for the animal corner right now, Blair?
Yep. That's all I got for right now.
All right, everybody. This has been the first half of This Week in Science. We're going to take a short break and come back We're going to be talking with Chad King about his adventures in the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. What he found, what he and the team found under the waters, in the deep. It's very exciting stuff. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a moment. Audible.com is the leading provider of audiobooks with over 150,000 different titles in their library. Their marketplace is filled with all sorts of science-y goodness that you can get your hands on if you sign up for their service. Have you ever tried it before? It's pretty awesome. Download a book, take it with you, listen to it anywhere. All you need is headphones and a little player. Or a big player. I don't know. Maybe you have a giant boombox. Whatever. But this is what they do. They let you listen to your books, and you can try them out, and you can help TWIS in the process. Head on over to audiblepodcast.com/TWIS right now and sign up for their service. You'll get one free audiobook download, and additionally, we get a little tiny kickback as well. So that's kind of cool. audiblepodcast.com/TWIS right now for your audiobook download for free. Additionally, you want to help TWIS out? You want to share your love of TWIS with the world? Why not try some TWIS merchandise? We got t-shirts, hats, stickers, keychains, all sorts of things over in our TWIS Zazzle store. So go to twis.org, which is our website. You go to the main header bar link and look for the Zazzle store. The Zazzle store is full of everything that you could think of. And if it's not there, you can let me know and maybe we can make it so you can have it. It's kind of cool that way, Zazzle. Anyway, twis.org, Zazzle store, merchandise. Share the love. TWIS is also supported by listeners like you. Your donations pay for our hosting, our bandwidth, contractors we need to hire, fun things that we try to do for the show, and any amount that you're able to give is very, very much appreciated. $2, $200, whatever. We appreciate it. It helps out so much. You make this show possible. We currently accept donations in a couple of ways. We have PayPal buttons all over our website, twis.org. Head over to the main page. There's a PayPal button on the side menu bar. If you go to any page in our TWIS account, scroll through the show notes after listening to the show, and you'll find PayPal donation buttons there. Really simple and easy to use. If, however, you like the Kickstarter model a little bit and you'd like to get something back in return, we have some gifts to give you through our Patreon account. Now, Patreon is kind of like Kickstarter, except it allows you to be a patron of our art, our production, so that every time we produce a show, you will donate a certain amount, say $2. So $2 per episode. The end of a month, maybe you'll be donating $8. And you'll be receiving a gift based on how much you donate per episode. And that is at Patreon, patreon.com/thisweekinscience. Go to patreon.com and look for This Week in Science. Very easy. Whichever your preference, go to our website, look for the most recent episode, comment on the show, and make a donation. We thank you for your support. We really could not do this without you.
Things you heard with more than intuition.
And we are back. This is This Week in Science, and we are joined this week by Chad King. He is from MBARI, or specifically, that is the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, but specifically the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, and he works with NOAA, and recently went on an adventure, a mission to the bottom of Monterey Bay. Thank you for joining us today, Chad.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Excited to talk about this. Yeah, so I just jumped off a boat and went swimming. That was about
That's
it.
right. That's right. Okay.
So
There's got to be a little bit more
a little bit
detail
more
and
to that.
complexity to it. So what'd you do?
All right, so let me take the story machine back about 10 years or so. And what's really amazing is 90% of the goods that we purchase and use and consume travel by shipping container all around the world. 90% of what we buy. And it really is the dominant form of transportation of our goods on this earth. Especially, you know, a lot of our goods come from China and other places like that. It doesn't come by air, it comes by ship. We've all seen the big ships with, you know, hundreds if not thousands of these big shipping containers loaded on it, and of course we see them driving up and down the freeways every day. Well, back in 2004, in February, there was one such shipping container, or ship actually taking those containers south from San Francisco to the port of Los Angeles. And just out of Monterey Bay or so, a large storm kind of brewed up, and some of the containers maybe weren't strapped down so well. And they lost actually 23 containers overboard, just splashed into the ocean. Now, no one knew it at the time because regulatory agencies and these shipping companies are not required to report this to public agencies. So it's kind of all hush-hush, kind of secret between the shipping companies, the clients that they're transporting goods for, and their insurance companies. So it's not
we
like,
just dropped a whole bunch of stuff into the water, and
yeah.
that didn't happen.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we go litter in the ocean, and you know we're caught. But no. So in 2004, that happened in February. Well, the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, one of our partners, they of course do all that amazing deep sea research. We've seen a lot of their footage on Discovery Channel and other places, where they take these big submersibles, they go underwater, and they're usually in the Monterey Bay Canyon or seamounts or these other areas, discovering these crazy animals and what have you. Well, during one of their routine surveys, lo and behold, they came across one of these shipping containers, a 40-foot long shipping container. And in fact, is it possible to screen share?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is possible to screen share.
All right, let me click that. I will show my desktop.
Awesome.
Let me see if this works. All right.
Yeah.
Do you see my screen?
Yes. Shipping
Yeah.
containers. Wow.
Ah, here we go. Okay. So this is this top map here is kind of the location where Mbari found the container, just outside of Monterey Bay. You can see the city of Monterey down there. And this is the remotely operated vehicle that Mbari uses currently. It's called the Doc Ricketts, and it's a little larger than the size of a car. It's a $10 million piece of equipment. So
Is it
it's pretty
robotic?
amazing. It is robotic. So we're up in the control room, sipping our coffee in a nice climate-controlled area with big screen televisions and all the comforts, creature comforts from home, including a bunch of 80s music that we're usually playing in there.
Nice.
So we dropped this thing down, and in 2004, that's what they discovered. You can see it right there. The image on the left is what they found in 2004. It was only a few months after it had been dropped, so there's very little growth on it. The picture on the right is what we saw in 2011. We revisited that container because the shipping container, or the shipping company, was responsible for losing all these containers. The sanctuary did get a settlement of $3.25 million in restitution, basically money to kind of repair other parts of the sanctuary and to educate people about the sanctuary and our habitats, because it's not feasible or practical to raise these things. So basically it's like, okay, you ruined this part, give us some money so we can fix something else in the sanctuary.
So quick question here though. I would assume now that you can identify what these containers, what the outside numbers on these containers are, do we know what's in them?
Ah, very good question. So the initial rumors before we understood what was on the shipping manifest is that it was old, very expensive French wine.
Oh, let's open it up. We got a cashier
Man.
for French wine. It probably survived the fall. Let's go for it.
We all got real excited about that. So yeah, it was like Capone's vault or something. What's in there? What's in there? But as it turns out, it was a bunch of old hospital beds and mattresses and Michelin steel-belted tires, over 2,000 of them.
Wow.
So it was just kind of ordinary stuff that gets shipped back and forth. We haven't opened up the doors yet, so we can't physically confirm that. But according to the manifest, that is what is in those containers. So what we've been able to do is revisit this container now 3 times in 2011, last December, and then just this past week we had a 5-day cruise out there, and one of the days was devoted to seeing this container. And so what's really interesting about this container is, of course, it is acting. Some people believe this is beneficial. Some people are mixed. Some people think this is a detrimental effect to the oceans, is that it's acting as an artificial reef. And of course, you can see some of the close-up images here of some of the critters that do grow on it, a bunch of tunicates and a bunch of different invertebrates, and even some what we would call beautiful invertebrates. But for the most part, this is an artificial reef. The problem with this is that the container itself is sprayed with a marine paint to prevent rust and deterioration. And what we've noticed now, since the container's been down for about 10 years, is that there's this halo effect of some of the toxic chemicals from that paint that is now leaching into the sediment on the seafloor. And so we've taken sediment samples at varying distances going out from the container in all directions, and we've noticed essentially a buffer. It's real concentrated near the container, and it dissipates as you go out. So it's an undetermined effect of what that's going to have on the animals there. The second thing, of course, is a lot of these containers, about 10% of containers that are shipped worldwide, ship toxic materials in them. And so there's always the fear that, okay, this is steel-belted tires and hospital beds. If it stays in the container, it's probably not going to affect anything. But if it's toxic stuff that gets out, because these things are not watertight, they fill with water, and those barrels or containers deteriorate, all that stuff is going to leak into the ocean. And of course, it can be kind of an island hopping, because the average depth of the ocean, does anyone know that? Can you venture a guess, the average depth of the world's oceans?
A couple of miles? A mile?
Really close to a couple miles. It's 2.5 miles, 14,000 feet deep is the average depth of the ocean. This was only found at 4,000 feet deep. And estimates range up to 10,000 containers that are lost every year worldwide. And that's an astounding amount. But when you think about it in terms of a fraction of how many are transported, it's actually a very small amount. Right now, there's 5 to 6 million containers out at sea right now, and hundreds of millions of them that are shipped every year. So 10,000 isn't a big portion of that, but that's still a crap load of containers going in the ocean. And you multiply that by all the decades we've been doing this, there's the potential that there are a lot of toxic materials out in the ocean, and we just don't know about it because, again, the average depth of the ocean is 14,000 feet. We're not finding this stuff except for local agencies like MBARI who just stumble across it very serendipitously. This is kind of finding a needle in a haystack by accident. And so what we've been able to do is, of course, continue this study. We're going to be able to revisit this container, and we actually have a proposal in right now to try and fund the ability to take these autonomous underwater vehicles. They look like little torpedoes that are computer guided, and they can fly a pre-programmed flight path and map portions of the sea floor looking for potential targets such as shipping containers. And so this one ship in this one time dropped over 23 in just one incident. Maybe it's possible we can find a few more of these to kind of
And you've only found the
assess
one.
what's going on. Just the one. Just the one.
Wow.
And out of the 10,000 or so, that's the highest estimate. Of course, the shipping industry, they want you to believe that it's between 1 and 2,000 or so. And so maybe the number's somewhere in between. It's kind of moot point, when you're talking maybe a few thousand here or there. There's definitely thousands being dropped in the ocean every year.
That seems crazy.
Doesn't it, though? It really does. I mean,
What are they doing? They're not securing these things at all, right? They're just relying on.
So it's all about speed and efficiency for these shipping companies. As quickly as they can get these ships loaded and as quickly as they can transport their goods. It takes longer to more securely tie these things to the deck. They have these systems where all these locks lock together and straps and all that, but it doesn't resist the highest forces of some of these big storms. Or sometimes they'll put the heavier containers on top instead of on the bottom by accident. There's all different ways that these accidents can happen. There was just a recent one in England in February where over 500 containers went overboard in just one accident, and that was very public because most of the containers went ashore because it was close to shore. They floated, and actually a lot of these containers were filled with cigarettes and whiskey. So you can imagine the pandemonium. There's all these great pictures. I wish I had them right now. May all send them.
Not the whiskey!
Where it is like Wild Wild West. They had guys out there with rowboats opening up these containers, and they were barrels of whiskey they were taking out and quickly paddling away with. So
Wow.
I think it's
Well, at least those got picked up pretty quickly. You know, that's the kind of thing that people are like, oh, gotta get that now.
Exactly, because that happened close to shore. This was a little bit in deeper water. So that's a pretty amazing project, and this stemmed into the second thing I wanted to talk about, which isn't human disturbance, but it's just some discoveries that we've made recently. Back in 2002, Mbari and the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, in a co-joint project, visited an underwater volcano, which is about 70 miles southwest of Monterey. It's 8,000 feet tall, 26 miles long, 8 miles wide. It's as tall as the Sierra Mountains. This volcano last erupted 9.8 million years ago, and we wanted to go explore it. And we found just an amazing array of old, slow-growing deep-sea corals that are that basically led to the addition of that entire seamount into the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary back in 2009. And so a lot of this research and characterization of the seafloor leads to resource protection to make sure, just like Yellowstone was set aside way back in the day, just to make sure that no one's going to go trawling these areas or mining these areas for manganese nodules in the future, which could be financially feasible when technology develops to that point. So this is all kind of putting the cart before the horse, but it makes sense. And what's funny is we get a few people that complained about it, like, why are you protecting this when no one can exploit it? That's the point.
We don't want people to exploit it. Yeah.
Let's do this before anyone can. No one has a vested financial interest in it right now. So let's set it aside now for future generations and make sure this thing is, protected. So there's a smaller little bump on the seafloor called Sur Ridge, which is a little closer to shore, and no exploration has ever occurred there. So back in December, we had an extra day to go visit. And I think I'm still screen sharing.
You are.
Here are some pictures of what we discovered back not only in December, but this most recent cruise. Just last week, we spent 3 full days at this place called Sur Ridge. And it had very similar assemblages of slow growth, old corals, and sponges there. And to me, some of these areas look like Dr. Seuss's imagination. If you can see right here, some of these pictures. Yellow, they call Picasso sponges, these white vase sponges, these pink bubblegum corals, they call them, these old ancient bamboo corals.
Is that an octopus over there in the corner?
It is. There's an octopus. This was a brooding octopus that we found down there. Here's this nice ugly fish in the middle called a blob sculpin.
Those are ugly.
Really, really cool things. We even discovered...
I
know, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
I apologize. My audio cut out for a second there.
Oh, sure.
What planet are we looking at here?
That's what's amazing about this. This is literally like 15 miles off the coast of California. Okay, this is off of Point Sur, basically the Big Sur coast. And all these pictures were taken between about 850 and 1,200 meters. So, it's still less than a mile deep.
It looks like an alien landscape.
It really is astounding. We had no idea. We thought that stuff could be there. We had no idea the breadth of diversity and richness and abundance that we would find there. And so even though this area is already within the sanctuary and already protected, this certainly is going to add to reasons to push it aside for trawlers to not hit, basically. There's still areas of the sanctuary that commercial fishermen can trawl for fish. We want to make sure areas like this are definitely protected, by the sanctuary and others. And what's really crazy about this place is I like to think of it in terms of how we explore these areas. A lot of people are like, oh, wow, you found some corals, it must be all over the place. Or, oh, it's all mud, it must be all over the place. Sur Ridge is approximately the size of Manhattan, okay? It's about 3 miles wide by 11 miles long. So think about that in your mind. Now, if you were dropped from a helicopter, kind of like the ROV, in pitch black, and you were given just a couple of flashlights on your head, and you were put down in some random areas that you kind of targeted because you had, oh, it's a little hilly over here, let's go check this out. And then you just ran that about 1 kilometer straight, and you just did that 3 or 4 times, that's it. Could you characterize the island of Manhattan? Would you have gotten Central Park or Times Square?
No.
Or Chinatown or any of these areas? And I think people really have to understand that in these, we've made a total of 6 dives. This is it. This is just scratching the surface of what actually is there. And this goes with all of deep sea research. No matter where it is, you're using an ROV that's illuminating a very narrow path of the seafloor. You can only run it for a finite amount of time before you got to pull it. And then that's what you've characterized, that part of the seafloor. So I think people really have to understand characterizing the deep sea is vastly different than characterizing biology, let's say, in the forest or something like that. And even then, you're not characterizing the majority of the habitat, but you're going to characterize a lot more than what we're seeing in the deep sea. So it's just incredible stuff that we've been finding and discovering. And again, they say that deep sea is really a lot like outer space. Even though it's right there, it's really hard to get to, and very little of it has been explored. And so I just think that's been incredible. My opportunity with the sanctuary to work with the guys at Mbari, who were the main people behind the study, at least at Sur Ridge, have been able to be a part of really these exciting discoveries. I mean, kind of being on the cutting edge of characterizing a lot of this biology, which, it's not the Mariana Trench. I mean, we're talking right off the California coast. And I just wanted to kind of come and tell that story and urge people to check out the website and these pictures and really understand that the seafloor and the ocean, it's not just a bunch of mud out there. There's some really incredible things out there.
Like the ocean, it's not just a bunch of mud out there.
That's the tagline.
That's the tagline. Yeah. I think it's interesting to run the parallel of exploring space, because for the last since the Apollo mission, we've had the space shuttle and we've had this big national push for exploration of outer space, and now we've got privatization where we have these space vehicles, low Earth orbit space vehicles, people who want to go to Mars. There's all sorts of money flowing into getting to other planets in our solar system. And yet, we still don't know the entire ecosystem that is sitting right off the coast of California.
That's always been my biggest beef with space exploration and space science, is that I feel like it's super important and super interesting, and I love hearing all about it.
Yeah,
but we're not focusing enough on the stuff on our own planet that we don't understand, mainly deep oceans.
And like Chad was saying, it's here we are. We've got these shipping containers that we're dropping, thousands of them into the oceans, and nobody knows anything about it. It's hushed up.
Right.
These things are dropping into ecosystems. Who knows what kinds of effects they're going to have? We are affecting our planet in all sorts of ways it's having effect. Will have an effect on the corals that are growing, their growth rate. If ocean acidification speeds up at all, there are all these effects that we don't even know what we talk about destroying the rainforests and how many species we've never classified that we're losing. That's happening in the oceans.
And to put it in perspective too, all the effort that NASA goes through with clean rooms and the like, not to introduce a microbe to Mars, and in the search of hoping to find a microbe on Mars that didn't make the trip. Yeah, this has been something too. I was right there with you, Blair. Well, everybody here, I think, is agreeing. There is an outer space here on Earth that we could be exploring to discover life, and we do need to pursue it to a much greater degree than we are. Here's the thing, though. Maybe we should have like a space versus ocean race. Maybe we got turn into a competition.
As opposed to a space race against the Chinese, now we'll do a space versus ocean.
Space versus ocean race, right? Let's see who can put the colony there first. Okay, you can go land. You can try to live on Mars. Or,
I want the abyss.
Why don't we create one of those glass domes? Although I think making it all out of glass still is a bad idea. But it's underwater dwellings. That should be, if we're going to go live on another planet, let's start here. Let's go somewhere that's really tough here. Let's build a living structure at the bottom of the ocean and see how that goes first.
These containers are just shocking to me because It's super frustrating. Microplastics are one thing. That's kind of a mistake. Most pollution is kind of a mistake. We're throwing giant containers just into the ocean. Who cares? That's huge to me that we're dropping these giant shipping containers and oh well.
No, I've been shocked. I mean, after this was discovered and we went out and studied it, now that I've learned so much more about it, we've actually gotten a lot of publicity out of this one study. It's the first and only shipping container that has ever been studied basically at the bottom of the seafloor. There's been shipping containers, of course, that land on shore. That's totally different. They're removed and what have you. This is the only one that's basically in situ that has ever been discovered and is now currently being monitored. And it's actually given a lot of visibility to this issue. And just this year, the U.S. Coast Guard passed some new, more stringent regulations on how these containers need to be strapped down for international travel. So it already has affected some change.
Yeah, I think the oceans are so odd because we have international waters. There's not really anything similar to that on land because every little ounce of land has been claimed by somebody for some reason. But there are these weird no man's lands out in the ocean where anything goes. And I think that's so odd that on our finite planet, to the amount that humans have expanded to every little nook and cranny of land, that we haven't been able to figure out how to police all of our water.
Chad, here's the suggestion for you. Next time there's one of these missions go out, have them bring an American flag and plant it. I'll just start claiming it.
I thought you were going to tell him to bring me so I could yell at people. Well, they messed up.
Well, in
What are you doing?
like under the ocean, nobody can hear you shout.
We won't leave shouty Blair underneath the ocean.
You know what? I think she could do some good down there. I'm just saying.
Oh, man.
You mentioned these marine sanctuaries, and I just want to highlight their importance and actually the role that the U.S. gets a bad rap for a lot of things, but the United States has actually been a leader in the development of these marine sanctuaries.
Absolutely.
And have created a model that countries around the world are starting to follow, and this is going to be a game changer.
Yeah, we have 14 national marine sanctuaries. We have a lot more momentum. There's a couple that might be expanded up in the Gulf of the Farallones, a new one in Oregon, maybe one down off of Santa Barbara. There's a lot of talk. We definitely have a lot of traction lately, thanks to stories like this. Mm-hmm. But, the sanctuaries, they all have their different regulations, but the point really is to kind of set aside some of these areas so that are either special or unique that we need to preserve for the future. And other countries really are taking heed of what we're doing as far as the U.S. is concerned in establishing some of these areas, just like your national parks on land. So now I'm really proud to work for the sanctuary system. We don't have a big budget, but I think we have a lot of heart.
And heart counts for a lot. And you mentioned also the future of it's not just trawling and allowing fishing, the fishing industry and keeping the fishing industry out of these protected areas where they have nets and big things that drag along the sea floor, destroying coral and other species that set up shop on the sea floor. It's also, you mentioned that future protection against the mining operations that are going to happen, and they're these seamounts and like the dark smokers, the black smokers, and the areas where there's a lot of life that's happening because there's so much warmth and chemical activity in these places. That's the exact place. Those are the exact places that should be protected because those are the places that people are going to want to mine because that's where they're going to go first.
Gold in them their trenches?
Yeah, it's valuable minerals like manganese and what have you that really are really expensive by the ounce, but it's just not quite feasible to do it right now. We did make another discovery I forgot to talk about at Sir Reg, chemosynthetic clams. Most of those have only been found near faults and in canyons where methane is basically seeping out from under high pressure. We found a field of chemosynthetic clams actually at the top of this ridge. So it's actually very unique in that. So now we're trying to understand how that methane is actually coming up from underneath kind of an undersea hill or mountain to basically be ejected, be consumed by the chemosynthetic bacteria that live within the gut of the clam, which then gives the clam its energy. Again, another chemosynthetic organism that does not require sunlight to live.
Yeah, so normally clams respire. right? They use
Mhm.
oxygen. They need that, but down in that area, that is not possible because of all the methane. Is that how it works?
Yeah, they're right in the methane, and so basically in the gut they have these bacteria that are basically using the methane and converting it to hydrogen sulfide. Believe it or not, and the clams are using that. So it's insane. It's totally insane stuff. It's alien species. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I think the first chemosynthetic organisms at a hydrothermal vent were discovered in the late 70s.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been that long that we discovered that, oh wait, we don't actually need the sun to have life. We can rely on just chemicals from the deep ocean. We don't need no stinking sun.
We don't need no stinking sun. And it probably at one point organisms that might be how organisms got their start. We don't know.
That's what I was going to say. And to think that maybe life came from the ocean. Odd.
Chad, it has been so great talking with you. It's just neat, the exploration of these unknown places and being able to also, like you've been telling us, being able to monitor this container that has been found and be able to follow the process and find out what kind of chemicals are coming off of it, how it's affecting life in that area. There are so many important aspects to the work that you're doing. So, hey, Congress, how about some more money to the National Sanctuary Program? That'd be nice.
That'd be kind of nice.
I can have sanctuaries.
I can have sanctuary.
Yeah, well, just to put it in perspective, the entire National Marine Sanctuary budget for all 14 National Marine Sanctuaries is $35 million. That's the cost of one Black Hawk helicopter. So,
perspective for you.
It's perspective, exactly.
Where can people find information about the stuff that you're working on, and also about you and your other podcast stuff?
Oh, yeah. So I work again for the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. You can find that at montereybay.noaa.gov. Specifically, we run a really cool little website called Simon. It's a Sanctuary Integrated Monitoring Network. I know there's a lot of crappy acronyms thrown at you. I didn't make them up. But you can go to sanctuarysimon.org. And we have some really cool stuff there. We developed an app of a bunch of photos. I do a lot of underwater photography, and we have a whole photo library with over 4,000 pictures of life that we've taken underwater and put freely on the internet to use for non-commercial uses. We have interactive maps. We have all of these projects. Well, I only talked about 2 of them tonight, but we have over 100 projects in a lot of detail that we've profiled on the website, as well as a lot of other stuff. So I'd really urge you to go check out sanctuarysimon.org. And then, yeah, personally on the side, I do a San Francisco Giants podcast called TortureCast.
Nice.
With a couple other guys. In fact, I'm going to the game tomorrow night in the press box,
Nice.
so I'll be there. So you can follow us at TortureCast, and then I do a parenting podcast with my wife called Kids Are Hard.
And I totally agree. They're hard.
Yeah,
being a parent is hard.
It is. I get some backlash on that one. They're not that hard. They're lovely. Well, no, they're hard. I'm sorry.
They're hard.
If they're not hard, you're not doing it right, right?
That's right. That's the way I say it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're little vampires.
That's right.
And you can find Chad on Twitter at ChadK21.
Correct.
ChadK21 if you want to follow him on Twitter, because he was tweeting stuff from this latest excursion. So I'm sure there's. Yeah.
On the Simon website that I just mentioned, we do have a link to the cruise log, which I updated daily with all those pictures that I kind of briefly showed you there, as well as what we've discovered. So yeah, I highly urge you to check it out.
Fantastic. All right, we have. Do you guys want to run through some real quick headline stories
Sure.
for the end of the evening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a quick one.
Okay.
Post-Ice Age extinctions of large mammals. We thought it was because the Earth was getting too hot. Makes sense. They were not well adapted to a sudden change in their environment. But it turns out it was us.
Oh, that's it. Just
Yeah.
it was us. Great.
It was us. By habitat destruction and hunting, we killed most of the megafauna after the Ice Age. Yep.
Nice. A new study out suggests that weed is good for what ails you. Well, the THC, the active THC, the active ingredient in marijuana, works through what researchers have described as a novel pathway that had not been discovered previously, that suppresses body's immune functions, and so it might change. It changes histones, which are part of the epigenome, leads to suppression of inflammation, and thus why it might have good effects for people with autoimmune disorders in which the body's immune system is attacking the body. Now, weed might be good for that. Also, light from an explosion. 12.1 billion year old light, gamma ray light, reached Earth, and we saw it. It was big, and it came from a long time ago, and so researchers went, "Ooh, that was some bright stuff," and "Ooh, wow, that must have been one big star that blew up a long time ago." So we saw that.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Early universe, big stuff. And then finally, herpes has been around since before you were human. That's right.
Viruses.
That's right. Herpes simplex
Just
virus.
a good old-fashioned gal with herpes.
Herpes simplex virus 1 and 2 infected us before we split from chimpanzees 6 million years ago. The latter jumped from chimpanzees to Homo erectus, our ancestor, 1.6 million years ago. So
Well, it didn't exactly jump, Kirsten.
Someone got jumped.
there we go.
Exactly.
Oh boy.
How this happens?
I don't know how this happened.
I don't know. I didn't think I'd have to explain this to you. You know, you got a PhD in the life sciences, but exactly a jump that takes place to make that jump.
Where's HR when I need them? All right. Justin, do you have any last stories?
No, well, there's this the
Headlines.
synchronized brainwaves is kind of interesting. I actually want to go into more detail with that one. I'm going to bring that one next week because it looks way cooler than I initially thought it was.
It is way cool. Yeah. Super cool.
Teaser.
Super cool. That's right. Okie dokie. What do we need to do?
Shout outs!
I need to do shout outs. That's right. Why does this never, this whole Patreon interface, sometimes it does not do what I want.
Don't speak ill of Patreon.
I will not speak ill of Patreon. Things are not where I want them to be, but that is not Patreon's fault. It is mine.
Not.
Yes, so I would like to give shout-outs to those of you who've supported us on Patreon. Big props to Kevin Donald, Wesley Ballard, Bo Hartwig, Gary Williamson, Rudy Garcia, Matthew Litwin, Eric Knapp, Mark, Jason Roberts, Patrick Cohn, Jason Dozier, Shane and Tara Ginsburg, Brian Condren, Byron Lee, Lord Trentonian Moody, E.O., Ulysses Adkins, Jared Lysette, Paul D. Disney, Bob Calder, Don Kamarechka, Violated Gorilla, Tony Steele, Ed Dyer, Charlene Davidson Henry, Marshall Clark, Layla Mirsadeghi, Nick Gradwell, Adam Mishkan, Craig Porter, Alec Doty, James, Dan Rambo, Illumalama, Tuomas Maikinen, Paul West, Jason Olds, TMRO, Ben Rothig, Gary Swinsberg, Jason Martin, Miko Pacola, John Specht, Dougal Campbell, Larry Garcia, Tyler Harrison, Jürgen Stellingwerf, Philip Shane, Marjorie, Lauren Lang, and Gordon Grant. Thank you so much. And on next week's show, once again, we're going to be broadcasting live online at 8 p.m. Pacific Time. TWIS.org/live. You can watch us, join our chat room, but don't worry if you can't make it live. You can always catch us later. Go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/thisweekinscience, or you can always go to twis.org to find our audio version of the podcast. Don't forget to tell a friend about TWIS. Share the love. Also, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/thisweekinscience.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. TWIS is also available as a podcast. Just Google This Week in Science in your iTunes directory, or you can look up TWIS for Droid in the Android marketplace, or simply TWIS, TWIS, in the Apple marketplace.
For more information on anything you've heard here today, show notes will be available on our website, www.twis.org. That's TWIS.org, where you can also make comments and start conversations with the hosts and other listeners.
Or you can contact us directly. Email Kirsten at thisweekinscience.com, Justin at twistminion@gmail.com, or Blair at blairbaz@twis.org. Just be sure to put TWIS, TWIS, somewhere in that subject line, or your email will be spam filtered into oblivion. You can also hit us up on the Twitter, where we are at TWIS Science, at Dr. Kiki, at JacksonFly, and at Blair's Menagerie. We love your feedback. If there's a topic you would like us to cover or address, a suggestion for an interview, or a haiku that came to you in the night, please let us know.
We'll be back here next week, and we hope you'll join us again for some more great science news.
And if you've learned anything from today's show, remember,
It's all in your head. Oh, I have to turn it up!
This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science, it's the end of the world, so I'm setting up shop, got my banner unfurled. It says the scientist is in, I'm gonna sell my advice, show them how to stop the robots with a simple device. I'll reverse global warming with a wave of my hand, and all it'll cost you is a couple of grand. 'Cause this week's science is coming your way, so everybody listen to what I say. I use the scientific method for all that it's worth, and I'll broadcast my opinion all over the earth. 'Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 I've got one disclaimer, and it shouldn't be news, that what I say may not represent your views, but I've done the calculations and I've got a plan. If you listen to the science, you may just better understand that we're not trying to threaten your philosophy. We're just trying to save the world from jeopardy. Jeopardy. And This Week in Science is coming your way, so everybody listen to everything we say. And if you use our method instead of rolling a die, we may rid the world of toxoplasma gondii. 'Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 I've got a laundry list of items I want to address, from stopping global hunger to dredging Loch Ness. I'm trying to promote more rational thought, and I'll try to answer any question you've got. But how can I ever see the changes I seek when I can only set up shop 1 hour a week? This Week in Science is coming your way. You better just listen to what we say, and if you've learned anything from the words that we've said, then please just remember it's all in your head. 'Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in 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 Science.
Yay.
What is that thing? That thing. that thing you got there, Blair? It looks really funny.
Oh,
On the end of it.
it's not working now. Hold on. I broke it. Hold on. I broke it. I was dancing too vigorously. Hold on.
Don't dance so vigorously, you break things.
Oh, here we go. All right. I think it's functioning now.
Whoa.
What is going on there?
If I need anything, it's a megaphone, right? I'm not loud enough. This is what the world
Shouty
needs.
Blair has a
We need to have
megaphone.
a megaphone at all times.
That's exactly what this show needs.
Science with a megaphone.
Shouty Blair, but louder.
That's
Trying
right.
to sleep. Whoops.
Oh,
Get shouty.
Mm-hmm.
It is officially the post show, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the show
If you were wondering.
Faux show. Thanks, everyone.
show.
For show. Thanks for
What is
joining us. For show. So when is the Chad, is there a plan for the next dive, the next expedition? Is this something that's going to be like every few years or?
To the container, we're going to visit one more time next year in 2015.
Nice.
And as far as Sir Ridge, we actually, Mbari carved out a few days. We're going to go back in late July.
Oh, nice.
So that's going to be nice. Yeah, so we'll see what's going on there. We have a lot of other stuff going on, too. We do a lot of diving up and down the Big Sur coast, looking at landslide activity and animals in those zones. And we're part of Kelp Watch right now, too, because a lot of people are freaking out because of Fukushima radiation.
Yes.
They're thinking that all the radiation's coming to the California coastline, and don't go to the beach. You're going to get
Right.
sick. and
Get
all
your
that.
babies out of California.
That's right. So what we're doing right now, just to assuage everyone's fears, is there's a network of us up and down the coast from Oregon down, or Washington actually, all the way down to San Diego. We're actually sampling kelp, giant kelp on the coastline, and because that will absorb cesium-137 and 134. And then they'll take that, they'll dry it, mill it, and then look for those isotopes in
And
the
of course,
dry stuff.
the prediction is we will find nothing.
Nothing.
That's right. So far we have found nothing. The only thing we found is cesium-137 at the same levels we'd expect from all the nuclear testing from the 50s and 60s, which is way under any dangerous levels.
Yeah.
It's like something like 24 baracules or whatever that unit is considered dangerous. It's like 0.04 or something. It's way low. So if cesium-134 shows up, however, that will be a trace element from Fukushima because it has a very short half-life of 2 years, and so that would be kind of the smoking gun to it. But even then, if we find it, it's estimated to be in such low levels, similar to 137, it's not going to pose any human risk.
Right,
So-
and again, I feel sometimes like a broken record pointing this out. But if we took the entire nuclear fissile material from the Fukushima plant and vaporized it right over the United States of America, it would be less radioactive isotopes than we release each year from burning coal.
Well, there you go. But yeah, we get a lot of people in the sanctuary just freaking out about it. Should I go to the beach? I mean, honest questions. I understand people are concerned. They want to know. But then there's the other ones who are just convinced that radioactivity is causing like the sea star wasting syndrome that we're currently experiencing up and down the West Coast.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing a lot of those studies as well. And we still have not isolated what the pathogen is. We don't know if it's a virus or bacteria or whatever, but it's still going. In fact, bat stars are starting to get wiped out now. It's really
Bat stars, they're so
Yeah.
hardy.
I know, exactly. Last year I only saw a couple in our surveys. It was all the big sunflower stars, the Pycnopodia,
Yeah, of course.
and then
Yeah.
it went to rainbow stars and ochre stars and all these other ones, and now bat stars are starting to die by the,
Yeah.
by the hundreds of
I feel like ogre stars are made out of glass. Bat stars are like made out of cement. They're like much better.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see how many I have just
That's
dissolving in
awful.
white goo on the seafloor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's
So
nasty.
it's a pathogen. Is it? I mean, is it something that can be linked to a change in water temperature, acidity, kind of like just conditions making it more
That's a really.
research.
They're looking at all the angles right now. I mean, we as a sanctuary aren't doing the testing. We're out doing the surveys.
Yeah.
But some of the collections, those things are being analyzed up in Seattle, and they have yet to isolate what the issue is. We don't know if
Right.
it's warming or what, but that's where a lot of other people again say, "Oh, it's Fukushima. Fukushima's killing the bat stars." It's like, right. Fukushima radiation is targeting echinoderms and
Right, exactly.
no other
Only.
form of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very specific radiation.
Yeah, that's who they want to kill. So anyway, a lot of crazy stuff that's going on right now.
It sounds. I mean, you mentioned you've got just 100 projects or so that they're just projects and projects and projects. So always
Yeah, a
something
lot
to
of it.
keep
I
you
mean,
busy.
well, Monterey Bay is amazing because we are the bay. We call it the Crescent, whatever you want to call it. It really is a hotbed of marine research. We have over 30 educational and private and nonprofit institutions and organizations doing research in Monterey Bay. It's unlike any other center in the world or geographic area in the world. We have every place from CSU Monterey Bay, UC Santa Cruz, CSUMB. We have the aquarium. We have us. We have just a ton of institutions doing research. So it's a great area to network and collaborate with others, just like we're doing with Embari, because this is their ship and their ROV. We have the money to pay for the container cruise, but since we helped them so much with a lot of other stuff, they invited us along for the Sur Ridge stuff to be a part of that. So it's really great, just the personal connections that you can make. It's not what you know, it's who you know, to really kind of form these teams to discover these things. I love it. I mean, it's just fantastic. It's very open.
It sounds like a really neat environment.
Yeah. Because I'm not a type A person, so I like just,
Don't seem like
people, just, chilling out.
Just chilling, hanging out.
Yeah,
Not
eating
getting
too much on
done.
the cruise. Way too
Right.
much.
I'm not a type A person, but I might be a type A spider. Organizing into groups.
Yeah, you think you're a keystone? You think you're a keystone and a keystone individual?
I think
A
we're all
keystone
keystone
spider?
individuals, and that's why we have a podcast.
Oh, could be that. Hey, so I got a preliminary result for my 23andMe.
Yeah?
You
Yeah,
did?
it says I have to wait
You're
another
not
couple
human.
of weeks for them to give me the full information. And they're still playing me for more like, tell me what your ethnicity is, which is sort of bothering me because I'm like, no, you got to tell me. I don't tell you. Like, oh, tell me what's your ethnicity. Yeah, what's your last surnames? Give me some more surnames. I'm like, no, it's cheating. You say first what's in the genes, and then maybe I'll tell you.
Well,
So
they're
you-
also they're probably going to try and, they have the whole social connection as well, so they want to try and connect you with
Right.
possible relatives.
Shouldn't they just do that with my genes, not with surnames
They
and
can't,
family
it
reported
makes it
ethnicities?
easier to cross-reference the database
I
of
don't know.
genes
Seems
with...
like it's cheating to me. But anyway, so far all I have are 2 genes. I've only got 2 genes that they've given me, or that they've sussed out yet. I've got an A2. Which is this? This is maternal line. I've got an A2.
That's not good.
I don't know, right?
You're probably going to die.
Says it arose in Asia 60,000 years ago and is now at its highest levels among Native American groups. Ka-ching! I'm going to get me some casino money, right? Yeah, forget last names, reservations. It's in the genes, right? Yeah, no. So this is gonna be interesting. I can't wait to see this sussed out a little bit. Famous people who have this haplogroup of A2. It just gives me one here. Eva Longoria. Me and Eva Longoria apparently cut from the same cloth. Yeah, at the peak of the Ice Age, between about 20,000 and 15,000 years ago, there was a land bridge. People moved over, and that's where a lot of this group moved over. It's especially common amongst members of the Haida Nuchaknuth Nucleoxybellicula. I can't even. I've
That
never
sounds
heard of
like
this.
something in Star Wars.
Chumash tribes of the Pacific Coast. California.
Uberalis, California, Uberalis.
Other skeletal remains from near present-day Monterey, California, have yielded ancient DNA tracing to the A haplogroup. So, my people didn't go very far for the last while. We're still pretty close.
That's sweet.
That's the maternal gene that is kicked out so far. Let me see. Let me go over to the paternal line. Paternal line. It's so far they've sussed out G2, which
G2.
arose 16,000 years ago in southwestern Asia.
That's a flavor of Gatorade, by the way.
Caucasus.
Too.
I think it is.
So I'm part Monterey, part Caucasus. Caucasus. And it's all over the place here. It's seen 12% in parts of southern France, which actually the only G2, and it's another subtype of G2 that doesn't relate to mine, but the closest one I can suss out that there's a famous haplogroup twin is King Louis the 14th. But it's so 10% of Ashkenazi men have this, but it's also seen all throughout Morocco. A third of Moroccans have this group. Also shows up in Iran. It shows up in all kinds of. It's that whole It's something Middle Eastern or ish, yeah. Middle Eastern, Caucasus, Western China, but it can be found as far north as even little bits of, what was it, Sweden? 60% of North Ossetian men? Where's Ossetia? Ossetian? I've never heard of these people.
You don't know? I'm not going to tell you if you don't know.
Well, don't tell me, because 60% of them have this gene. So this is sort of this, and that's G. That doesn't go into the subtype G2. G2. So I got to wait for the drill down that this is going to take another couple of weeks. But already, I am multi-continental.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So, Kiki, you did 23andMe already too, right? Didn't you? Or you did something?
I did do 23andMe.
Oh, yeah, same one. Oh, wait.
So now I have to do it.
You have to do it.
Yeah, go spit in the tube.
But, all right, $99.
We'll figure it out. It says I'm 2.7. How Neanderthal were you, Kiki?
I was.
You were a lot.
I don't know, 2 point something. 3 point something.
2.7. I'm apparently an average of the samples they've taken. I'm like right there with the average.
I think I was on the high side, although I don't remember. I remember we went over it one post-show.
I know.
Yeah, I remember. It was definitely on the high side of Neanderthal genes.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Ugga.
$99.
Red hair, ugga, Neanderthal, freckles, raw.
So, Justin, did you know supposedly what your background was, or you weren't sure?
You've always told me Sicilian.
Oh, he's frozen?
Are you frozen now?
He's frozen. You knew, right,
my
going
name.
into it, Kiki?
Yeah, I had a really, really good idea of where I was from.
Because there's an entire eighth of me that's a mystery.
Which is why 23andMe is so fun, because you can start to, get at that.
Yeah, I just don't know. I was hoping that if I waited longer, like, demand would decrease, and so the price would go down.
Yeah, no, I think they've pretty much stuck it at the $99 price point.
Man.
Yeah, so Ossetia, did Justin figure that out? That is an ethno-linguistic region located on both sides of the Greater Caucasus Mountains.
Where's the Caucasus? I don't even know what the Caucasus is.
Let's see. Ossetian-speaking area south of the main Caucasus Ridge is recognized by most countries as within the borders of Georgia, but let's see, under the control of the Russian-backed de facto government of the Republic of South Ossetia. The northern portion of the region consists of the Republic of North Ossetia, Alania, within the Russian Federation.
So I'm Russian? How the heck did that happen?
Yep.
Interesting.
You're Asian, I guess it would.
I'm very Asian.
It's more European, Eurasian. I think you're getting at the Eurasian kind of thing. I don't know. It's European. I don't know. It gets at the kind of Eurasian influence.
Huh.
Did you freeze again?
Did I? No, I think
No,
I'm
there you are. You're just being quiet, and
Well, I'm
Stop.
just looking at
that's
stuff.
so unusual.
Well, now I want to jump on the bandwagon.
And I've always
One
thought
of
about
us.
doing this too.
One of us. I think it's really fun. It's neat, especially if you have questions about your lineage and where certain parts of your makeup might come from.
Yeah, which I do.
Yeah. I was pretty certain that it was gonna end up Northern European, and it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was very strongly Irish, Scandinavia. Like, that's it. There was like this very slim chance that there was other stuff in there, but yeah. No surprises for me. I was more interested in the SNPs, the single nucleotide polymorphisms related to disease probabilities.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean, you're not supposed to use it to really inform your healthcare decisions, but it is interesting that there are these genetic mutations that do make you more or less prone to certain things. And so it's neat to know. I thought that was really the coolest part for me. Other people think of the lineage stuff, the evolutionary or ancestral heritage, as being more interesting. But
So, Kiki, do you know how you're going to die?
Nice.
no,
No?
I do not.
Oh. The plot thickens.
I do not know how I'm going to die. It did not tell me that.
Oh, man. Well, it's probably a good thing. That'd be kind
Yeah,
of a
I
bummer.
don't want to know that. I wouldn't want to know
That'd be a
that.
surprise.
Yeah. You will die at the age of 67 from gingivitis.
Mm.
Damn!
Mine
Really?
could be like, you will die at the age of 34 from a bear attack.
Nice.
That must be the risk-taking gene. Because you have that one.
Well, if I don't have the risk-taking gene, but I take risks, does that mean I have toxoplasmosis?
Ooh.
Could be.
Could be.
I
Maybe
got
they're
it from a
tainted.
wild cat.
You probably got it from like raccoon poop or squirrel poop at the zoo.
Hey, I'm not taking care of raccoons or squirrels, but they are running around on their own.
They do that. And they probably like climbing into other animals' enclosures and stealing their food, because that's what
That's what they do.
raccoons do.
Yeah, we got all our otters getting toxoplasmosis
Yep.
from those
Yep.
damn cats.
It's from flushing kitty litter, too. It's just silly. Why do people flush kitty litter? Ugh. So
I don't know why you would flush kitty. I mean, they have flushable kitty litter. is
Yeah, but
one reason,
you're still not supposed to. Even that stuff is not good for the waterways. You're not supposed to flush that. Even the flushable kitty litter.
I know. Don't flush your cat litter, people. When you're telling people to listen to TWIS or watch TWIS, also tell them don't use soaps that have antibacterials in it, and don't flush your kitty litter. These are
Also,
the pieces of knowledge.
exfoliants should be made from natural products and not little plastic beads.
How about that one?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Little plastic
that was a good idea.
microbeads.
This is like part of the same head explosion moment that I had about the containers. Like, oh, we'll just drop these giant containers in the ocean and whatever, it'll be fine. But also, hey, let's put little plastic balls into our soap. That's a good idea, right?
Yeah, because they'll just go in the environment and they're just going to dissolve, right?
No one will see them.
Plastics don't dissolve.
They don't dissolve, people.
They're there forever. Which the scrubs were derived from natural things originally, like they had salt or sand in them. And all of a sudden somebody was like, oh, I have this great idea. Let's take this thing that came from nature and let's make it out of plastic. That's a good idea, right?
Yay.
Bravo, humanity. Bravo.
Why would you ever take something that it comes just as is? I'm getting upset.
Maybe it's just hard to
Get riled up.
dig for sand. Maybe it's hard.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't live by a
Because
beach
there's
or
one thing
something.
we don't
I
have a
know.
lot of.
Maybe there's not enough salt on the
It's
planet.
salt. Yeah, those are two things. Definitely, we might run. I don't know, guys. We should save some of it.
Well, you know what's really cool? I do feeding shows at the Monterey Bay Aquarium in the kelp forest tank. So I jump in with the full face mask and talk to the crowd and everything like that. And one of the engagement points we make is I pull out a sandwich bag, right? Not a Ziploc, but like just a sandwich bag. And I let it float in the water, kind of fill it up, and I ask the kids what it looks like. And they've never gotten it wrong. They always shout out, jellyfish! Exactly. And it's a great teaching point because we talk about how turtles and molas and some other animals will mistake it for jellyfish and then eat it. And then we talk about how those plastics do dissolve, but they don't really dissolve. They just go into really tiny little particles that you can't see anymore. So please keep your beaches clean, people. Don't
Yeah,
throw this crap in the water.
there's a couple of really great things right now. At the San Francisco Zoo, there is an art exhibit where they've taken trash from the beaches, stuff that's plastics and stuff that is washed up on the shore, and the artist has created this amazing walkthrough of like whale bones made out of white plastic bottles, jellyfish made out of other things. It's really interactive, fun for all ages, and also really thought-provoking as well. They have in one room where the light comes down, they have a net and a bunch of plastics hanging, and it's meant to represent the Pacific Gyre, or one of the Pacific gyres where plastics tend to accumulate. And so that's a really neat exhibit just to start you thinking about it. And then on Netflix, and Netflix, there's also, it's a SeaWorld movie called, I think it's called A Turtle's Remarkable Journey, or Turtle something. I just watched it today with Kai, and it shows this, it follows one turtle over 20 years, but it's the journey of a turtle from hatching from its egg from a beach and making its way out past crabs and pelicans and gulls trying to attack it into the ocean. And then from there, one of the first things it runs into is garbage
Oh, jeez.
that looks like jellyfish and things it wants to eat, and then it's like, don't eat the plastic, no.
There's some sort of a marine animal rescue center, North Bay.
The Marine Mammal Center.
Marine Mammal Rescue Center. Yeah.
I was there yesterday.
Wow, they named it appropriately.
Yeah, it's a great. They've been around for years. They're wonderful.
I visited with the kids. Not as big of an upside as the Monterey Aquarium. 'Cause they've got a lot of, as I recall, a lot of blown up photographs of animals interacting with garbage, rescued animals that have been damaged by interacting with garbage. But it is, and there's a lot of animals there that are being sort of helped back into health. So yeah, it's not exactly a fun day for the kids necessarily, but it was really illuminating.
Well, yeah, it's really educational, and then you get to see the adorable elephant seal pups. I was staring at them for probably 30 minutes when I saw them yesterday.
Oh, were you just there?
Yeah, I was there yesterday.
Oh, there weren't any baby animals that I recall.
They have over 50 right now, 50
Oh my
elephant
gosh.
pups there. Yeah.
Wow, holy cow. My favorite thing about Monterey Bay Aquarium, though, is the commissary there, the food court. After a full day of walking around staring at marine life, the tuna sandwich just starts calling to me, and it's really good. It's like the best tuna sandwich you could possibly.
It's sustainable, Justin. That's
right.
Sustainable seafood.
It is, no, and it's the best tuna sandwich you can ever find on this planet is at the aquarium. And I always wonder, like, and I guess I have the right person to ask, do you guys make it like fresh right there out of like one of those giant tunas? Which is also
right. Plucking the tuna out of the ocean.
is by far my favorite marine exhibit I've ever seen. It's like a 2-story aquarium. It's just absolutely amazing.
I'm really excited for Tentacles. When does that open? Later this year, right?
It's already open.
Oh, it already opened?
Yeah, it's been open for about 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Yeah.
Man, I didn't know it already opened. I have to get down there immediately.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. In fact, I hadn't seen it yet until yesterday. I had my feeding show and my daughter. I got to get her in free for this training for underwater explorers. So they take 8 to 13-year-olds down to the Great Tide Pool, put them in dry suits and scuba gear, and they let them basically, they don't actually descend underwater, but they go around looking at everything. So she got to go do that. But we got to check out Tentacles. Yeah, it's really cool. They love the chambered nautilus. Just they have like a couple dozen or more just floating around. They look
couple dozen?
Oh yeah. They have not even be more than that. It's amazing. There's tons of them just squirting around in their little shells. You know, it doesn't look real.
I know they were talking about when they were planning it. They were talking about some potentially having some really cool stuff that they were going to have pressurized tanks for, because they were deeper sea, like I think the vampire squid. Are any of those in place yet?
No, I didn't see vampire squid there. Yeah, but I was trying to chase my 4-year-old around, so I might have missed a tank or two.
Well, I know that they had designed a couple of the exhibits to be able to put different types of animals in there with different pressure and temperature requirements. So, yeah. I mean, I guess it's possible that they're still waiting on
And they've done that before. Years ago when they had deep sea exhibits, they had to do that. They pressurized and kept them really cold. So they've definitely done that before.
I'm so excited. I definitely need to check that out.
Yeah, I'll be going this summer for sure.
Maybe I smell a TWIS short.
Should there be a TWIS excursion?
There should be a TWIS excursion.
I can get you in there.
Yes. Excited. This is excited face.
All right, I'm keeping my eyes peeled for cephalopod stories in the news, and I'm going to save one out just for this.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah, we should go down and shoot a TWIS short at the.
Yeah, we could do that. I have to go. Then I'm going twice, because if I bring the 1-year-old, the 7-year-old, and the 11-year-old, I will get no work done for sure. I won't be able to present anything.
Well, we could just take turns, and I'll chase them around for a little bit.
It's the 1-year-old actually. She's the difficult one.
All right.
Yeah.
We can work it out.
Because I'm her favorite parental unit.
Oh.
Does the other unit want to hear you talking that way?
Well, it's no, she knows it too. When we're both there, because when she's with mom, she's got to go where mom goes. But Papa's a trained monkey. When she points, Papa will walk.
Chad's cracking up. Oh, you crashed again, Justin. Right in the middle of this wonderful story. He's frozen. Telling the story of how he does everything for his little girl. This is what he's saying. He does whatever his little girl wants. Mama doesn't. And so favored Papa.
Well, I feel like this is not a huge leap for what he does for TWIS. He's all about the entertainment value, right? So.
Yeah.
Oh, what an unfortunate pose for Justin to be.
I know.
I know. He looks like he's strangling his 1-year-old or something. It's weird.
Speaking of children, let me Instagram you, or not Instagram, screen share the awesomeness that Brian Brushwood caught. I don't know if you can really read that well. That my 3-year-old posted for me on Google Plus this evening.
I can't see it.
Yeah, it's not a great image, but it's gibberish, but with autocorrect. It's kind of awesome.
Oh.
Like there's something about equipment and a book, moo, we retreat, yield, illy, and something about ibuprofen. Bye bye, you, 77.
Bye bye, you 77.
That's excellent.
It's pretty hilarious. I was just laughing, and Schwood posted, Dr. Kiki, are you okay?
And that's where
Did you have a stroke?
Yeah, Justin.
Great story.
Yeah. Great story, Justin.
Did it make it to the end?
No.
No.
Not even close.
Where did it cut off? What was it?
You kind of looked like a...
Oh, so yeah, no, I'm the favorite mode of transportation because I'm the trained monkey that when my daughter points, my whole job is just to take her where she's pointing. So when Papa's holding her, she knows she gets to be in control of the legs.
Is that going to be your name when she learns how to talk? Hey,
Trained
legs.
monkey?
No, hey, legs.
Trained monkey.
You know, of course, correct. No, I have no tail. I'm a trained ape. Come on, get this right.
Aren't we all?
Oh.
Oh my goodness, sorry. I left the screen
So
on.
I don't know if you
Didn't mean to do that.
noticed the change in my studio tonight.
Yeah, what's with the robot art? I really like it.
That's my robot art, but I meant the audio.
He made it in a van down by the river.
I actually have 2 microphones set up so that you can hear me for the first time in stereo.
2 microphones. Man, fancy.
Yeah, and that's the current backdrop there, just because I didn't have a chance, right? Yeah? Huh?
Green
I got a
screen.
green screen.
Huh?
I got a green
I'm
screen.
gonna make
So
a green screen.
I'm gonna paint it this week, and then we'll have a backdrop back here. Figuring out all this newfangled technology. And notice too, no headphones.
Yeah, what's with that?
You notice no headphones today? There's a laser pointing at my forehead.
Liar.
You can't see from there. That's actually resonating a frequency inside my skull. So that's how I'm getting all of the audio. If I move
Right.
over here, I can't hear anything.
Right.
But from right here now, the laser's again hitting me in the head, and I can get my audio. So a lot of upgrades taking place to the studio here.
Laser audio. How much does that run?
Just about $1 million.
No, actually, prices have come down. It was only $280,000. Yeah, for the unit.
It's a steal.
Yeah. It's been on layaway. It's been on layaway since my people were in the Caucasus.
You're born. Okay, I just have to say how awesome Patreon is. I just have to say that.
Why?
Okay. Why?
John, let's see, where'd the, let me go back to Hootsuite. John Ratnaswamy, John R. Sports.
We're only
said-
49 cents away
tweeted,
from
I didn't hear-
$400.
Oh my gosh, we're almost there. Okay, so
Sorry.
anyway, John R. Sports tweeted, I didn't hear my name tonight, so I checked Patreon. Shows my last donation, episode 452. I didn't stop support. Did something happen? I don't know. I didn't do anything. And Cole Porter from Patreon tweeted right back and said, email us, and gave the email address. And my cat almost fell off the shelf because he was attacking his tail.
Ah!
All that noise is my cat attacking his tail.
Well, that's awesome. Good job,
Keep it up,
Patreon.
Ozzy.
Good
Keep it up,
customer
Ozzy.
service. Here, I'm going to tweet about the fact that we're 49 cents away right now.
Right?
We're 49 cents away from 400. Woohoo! There's the cat tail. He's going after it. You see that in the corner? You see the cat? The cat's after his tail.
No.
Can't see the tail.
Getting him.
There he is. There's the cat. Go for it. Get that tail. Cat videos. Live. Live cat videos. I'm just horrifying Justin. That's all.
Oh, you laugh now, Kirsten. You laugh now. But one day you'll realize the damage that's been done to this planet by cats. Once we solve this global warming thing, it's on to the cats. We've got to get rid of the cats.
No, we don't have to get rid of the cats.
They're the spilled shipping containers on the land. They really are. If you look at where the population of cats are, there's a radiation of a lack of birds that coincides with it.
I don't know about that. I mean...
How do you not know about that? How are these psychopathic killing machines that are vector for Toxoplasma gondii eluding your perception?
Maybe it's the Toxoplasma gondii that's doing it.
How are they eluding my detection? Maybe...
Just like that, we just went over $400 per episode,
because
guys.
that.
Woo!
Boom.
And now I give you a kitten and a cup holder.
Nice.
That is the reward for everyone helping us go over $400.
Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, great. Great. In the place where you put your drinks, there's an animal that's been digging into its own parasite-infested
We should be
feces.
celebrating right now.
Put your cup down there. Yeah.
Quiet yourself. We should be celebrating, man.
I won't celebrate till this planet is rid of cats. Actually, that's probably not good for getting donations because I figure there are people who might like cats.
There's a lot of people
And
that like
science.
cats. Yeah, $400 an episode. Bam.
Nice. Thank you, Larry. That was thanks to Larry MI, which I'm thinking is Michigan. Is that Michigan? Is MI Michigan? Missouri? Minnesota? No, it's not Minnesota. Michigan? No, it's not. Is it Michigan?
I think it's Michigan.
Missouri? Michigan? Thank you, Larry.
Nice.
All right, now we need somebody else to get us over 500.
Yeah, let's get over 500. We made it to 400.
I know. Slowly climbing.
Yeah, the latest studio upgrades have allowed me to go headset free. Right?
Well, I have my steering wheel now.
Larry, it has been confirmed. It has been confirmed. Larry is from Michigan.
Yeah.
State abbreviation, MI, does stand for Michigan. You heard it here first, folks.
Also,
Thank you. $400.11.
Mhm.
Woohoo! Go Patreon. Cat, you are crazy town right now. You go crazy town. Crazy town.
Oh my goodness.
Kitty.
This is for you, Justin.
I know. Should I go find the cat in my house?
He's purring.
Have cat
Okay, now
time.
I gotta find the dog now.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
He's
Purring.
purring. He's happy.
It means
They're
he's
not happy.
stimulated,
They're
Kiki.
psychopaths.
He's
So
stimulated. I
He's
know.
manipulating you.
Come
I
on,
know,
let's
and I
be
love
scientific about this.
I stimulated my cat, but you know what? He doesn't always purr when I stimulate him.
No, it's because it's just manipulating you.
Because sometimes I stimulate him like with a stick, and he doesn't purr. He goes,
Well,
"Meow."
that's different.
Stimulating.
It's true.
So it's a very specific kind of stimulation that leads to purring. Because cats will purr if they are hurt. Cats will purr under all sorts of situations. Situations.
True.
There was a Big Bang Theory reference, I think, in the chat room. I don't know. I haven't seen.
Somebody,
The
Scott
show.
Murphy,
Yeah.
jeez, Twitter. I tweeted, having an amazing interview with Chad K21 right now on TWIS about things at the bottom of Monterey Bay in California. And he replied, like John Denver? And I just have to reply, too soon. It will always be
20-something years.
too soon.
Is that where he went down? I didn't know. I wasn't paying attention that year.
Yeah, he did. He went right down off of Pacific Grove.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, literally in like 20, 30 feet of water, his plane went. They found.
So is he formed a coral?
They found parts of him.
Ah! Parts of him?
Mm-hmm.
So has his plane done more damage or less damage than a shipping container? No, this is his question.
Well, it was a very light experimental aircraft he was flying, so there wasn't much material to go in. It was super lightweight, but had a lot of wires in the plane. So just imagine the velocity of hitting the water and what those wires would do to someone. That's the condition he was in. So yeah, it wasn't good.
We're all gonna
country road.
That's right.
Really couldn't have gotten much further away from a Rocky Mountain high.
Right.
A muddy ocean low.
Yeah, muddy ocean low.
Not as far. Not even gonna go down to sea level. I'm gonna go even further. That should not be. You guys shouldn't be laughing at this. What are you doing? What's wrong with you people?
I am a bad person. Don't you know that yet?
$405. Holy cow.
Keep it going. Look, I'm already pre-spending donation money.
Uh-oh.
I'm pre-spending donation money.
No, you're not.
Over the weeks and months to come.
No, you're not. No.
There will be some changes to the studio here.
Nope.
What are you shaking your nopes at? What are you talking about?
Shaking your nopes.
We will discuss as a group how we spend this financial stimulus.
I've already spent it. I've already spent like the next couple months of donations. So it'll be fine. Just trust me.
Think about the greater good of the group. Be a keystone individual for a second.
No. It's not. You don't take a bunch of beta spiders and have them like sit around talking about, how should we act together? No. You need a keystone alpha spider to be like, here's what we're doing.
Yeah, but they're acting for the good of the group, not the good of themselves.
How would you know that? Okay. So the jacuzzi I'm putting in over here, that might be more about me than you.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, that's possible. The wall I'm having torn down to put the bleachers in, that is a local audience, but there's still an audience of the show. They're going to be able to see it on the. Okay, I didn't have to probably go.
How about this instead? How about a TWIS from Hawaii?
I like that.
I've not been.
There you go.
I like the idea of going to Hawaii.
I was more thinking about getting a fluid way
Twiscursion?
TWIS, Ed from Connecticut says, TWIS needs more Patreon money to get the gang high-speed internet. Yeah. That's right. We need to wire. There are things that need to happen now, like getting you wired so that your connection's a little better. I don't know if Justin's connection can be any better. If we can make Justin. I don't know. Yeah, we have to look into if we can have a better connection.
All right.
I don't know.
So here's what I'm working on. I'm working on, hopefully, probably not this time next week.
Wait, what? Identity 4 says we need to spend it on hookers and blow.
Okay,
what's
the study?
I think it's either that or a John Denver reference. I don't know.
Thank you, Hot Rod. Yes, I will show them who's on. So here's what I'm working on that hopefully I'll have soon is added production value stuff.
Yes. Yeah. I'm all about. I want to make everybody sound good and look good, and so that we can all,
Well, in that case, mission accomplished, because
sounding better.
Yeah.
He's just looking. He's just like,
right here.
I got a new
Much better than
microphone.
it's ever been before.
Oh, should I talk into my microphone like this?
I think that's how you do it. Yeah. You can talk right into that microphone, Blair. And check me out. No headphones, and I can still hear you.
Maybe I
That's-
need to actually put my
That's very
stereo
impressive,
monitor.
Justin.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great point. I didn't for oxytocin. We could totally we could get what it would be is for the Patreon donators, we could send them out like a little Banaka mister. God, why is it? Have you ever noticed that Banaka went away? Was there something like toxic in that? Was there a poison in that? Is that why it went away? They never told us.
Oxytocin.
Right? It used to be these little mint spray, you go, and then right? And now they're all gone, and there's no explanation of why. What was in there that was like toxic that we shouldn't have been putting in our mouths? But we'll get these little oxytocin sprayers for the audience, so you can play along at home.
TWIS branded Oxytocin spray.
What happened to Banaka? Wait a second. This never occurred to me. This was everywhere, and now it's.
It was a fad.
Oh, we lost him again.
It was a passing fad. Yeah, what is up with your internet tonight?
No.
Is it my internet? Because it looks to me like you're all freezing. So I do have, I don't know, maybe there is something, because I'm hardwired in a little bit more than I normally am, which should be quicker, but I've also got like a 50-foot Ethernet cord, which is the longest I've ever run.
That shouldn't matter.
That really shouldn't, should it?
No.
So I found a Yahoo Answers to whatever happened to Banaka. Remember that stuff that burned the crap out of your mouth, but oh, did it do the job? Someone answered, nothing. They still make it.
Do they really?
Yeah, they still make it. There, if you go to banaka.com, it's a whole website. Banaka blasts away bad breath.
Hey, maybe we should get them as a sponsor.
We have a sponsor now.
We really need one. And like we could just intermittently, like for the next story, oh, hang on, I need to get a fresh blast. Right? And then we'd go on with the story. It would be like integrated, like really seamless. Like the audience wouldn't even notice that we were promoting a product.
They'd never know.
Hey, do you guys know what day today is?
It was the opening of the World Cup.
Well, there's that too. It's also my half birthday.
I would never have guessed that.
Half birthday.
Yeah, that's a thing, right?
Do we get to celebrate that?
I'm totally joking. No. But actually, tomorrow's something interesting because it's a full moon and it's Friday the 13th.
Oh, yeah. Aren't they calling it something like the honeymoon or
Honeymoon,
something like that? Yeah.
Okay.
I say they. It's the people who decide to call the moon names. Harvest moon, the honeymoon, a blue moon.
Let's see. It won't happen for a long time again. I'm looking. It won't happen again until 2049. Oh, that's pretty soon, actually.
It's fairly far away. I mean,
It's going to happen at 12:11 tonight is the fullest.
Yeah, it's going to be really early. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
It already happened.
Oh, no, 12:13 Eastern.
So, like an hour ago. So it's still nice and full and honey-like.
EDT? EDT is...
As Eastern Daylight Time.
Okay. The last time it happened was in the year 2000. Next time will be 2049.
Cat pacing. What's going on? Let the cat out. You want to go out? Go on, full potty. No, I'm not leaving. You go. talk to the cat on my way out. Jeez. Where did Justin go? He froze and then left?
I don't know.
His exit strategy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Freeze and leave.
Yeah. I've been talking with the outreach, one of the outreach coordinators for the Exploratorium.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's getting me in touch with their programming people and for their Thursday nights program. So they are going to reach out. They've got a bunch of stuff going on. They're going to reach out in the next month or so. And then from there, they plan about 6 months out. So it won't be anytime soon. But
that's still super exciting.
But we can plan for maybe some kind of a live thing, potentially, hopefully, at the Exploratorium, which would be very cool.
That would be so cool. I love it.
Excited about it. Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Amazing. I need to get some more interviews. This has been fun. More interviews. Where is Justin? Come back so I can say goodnight.
I know, it's time to go.
It's like 10:15. I need to go. I'm not one of those super late night people. At one point in time, I thought I was, but I've learned that I am not, and I just need to go to bed.
Well, I have to go teach at some local libraries tomorrow, so.
You do? You're taking your education mobile on the town?
Yes. Yep.
That's
I
awesome.
started a Twitter for the mobile as well.
Oh, sweet. Which local library?
We're going to Potrero Branch and Bayview Branch.
Darn, not Bernal. You gotta let me know when you come to Bernal.
Yeah, we're going there later in the summer. I'll let you know.
Sweet. I will be there. So, I made these things that I'm gonna go upstairs. I'm gonna go eat one of these right now. Blueberry cheesecake, frozen yogurt sandwiches. I made them. I am going to eat them.
What's in them?
Deliciousness. It's cream cheese and yogurt and blueberries and graham crackers. And you basically like mix the yogurt and the cream cheese with sugar and vanilla, and then you put it in an ice cream maker or in the freezer to kind of freeze it up. And then you make you mix blueberries with some blueberry preserves on the stove and kind of make a little sauce that you then chill, and then you layer it, and you make the layers, and it's so yummy.
That sounds really good.
It's so yummy. And so I'm going to go eat one. That is my plan. I'm going to eat one of those. I will attend to a book I'm reading, and then I'm going to go to bed. That's my exciting
I'm just going to skip the middleman, and I'm going to go to bed.
Going to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to be a night owl. I shouldn't be, because I always pay for it in the morning, but my only free time tends to be after the kids go to bed, you know? So
well, I have to wake up
a little
early
too
to
late.
start casting my spells tomorrow, so I have to get some shut-eye first.
To cast your spells, huh?
Yeah, it's Friday the 13th.
You're silly. Silly.
I have to cast my spells, Kiki.
That's what you should use. I don't need a wand. I just need a megaphone. I don't need a wand, just a megaphone.
Black cats, come hither.
That's right. If you're louder, it works better.
Animals like it when you're loud, right? That's a thing.
Right.
Hey, animals, come here.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
So
what I've learned from my many, many years with animals. Animals like it when you're loud and you make sudden movements and you grab at them. That's what they like.
oh yeah. Oh, okay. How about let's just do everything the opposite
Clearly.
of that. Today is now opposite day.
And everyone's like, oh, maybe that's why she keeps getting attacked by things.
That's why squirrels love her.
You guys like my sweet tat?
What is it? I can't see it. Hold on. I got it.
Octopus or something?
It's
What is
an
that?
octopus. It's not real.
Oh,
It's a children's tattoo, temporary.
Nice.
You could get it. That would be a cool tattoo, though.
Is that a kraken?
The kraken.
Yes, it's a kraken.
Release the kraken.
It's totally a kraken.
Okay, can I use the after show just for a second to do a technically thing?
Sure, but then we're
Technically,
leaving.
yes.
I want to see if you can hear my chair creaking. Okay, I'm gonna do a test.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I've got the mic tilted slightly up, hoping that I could avoid any. But that's.
No, it's loud enough. There's squeakering.
I have squeaky chair also.
I also want to figure out if I go all the way around. Look at this! Look at this! I go all the way around! All the way around! Look at that! Woo!
Oh, man.
Ah, that's new!
Maybe Patreon needs to buy us some new chairs, too.
Or you could be like me. and get
I want
rid
to
of
have
the
a standing
chair.
desk. I would much rather have a standing desk.
Stand up.
I think a new desk will be more expensive than a chair.
I don't know. Chairs are kind of expensive. Desks.
My
you
chair
can
costs more than my
make
desk.
out of things. Yeah. Some pieces of wood. There you go.
I could make a little stand that goes on top of my desk that turns my desk into a standing desk. I could do that.
Yes, you could.
Or you could just do this. You could just fake it.
My knees will hurt.
Yeah, but
It's
look,
gonna hurt after a bit.
move around.
Justin, my knees.
A little awkward, but
Do you represent the Lollipop Guild, Justin?
We represent. Now that's going to be in my head.
Sorry.
As you go to sleep.
I know.
I have a regret. I have a regret
Sleep.
from tonight's show.
A regret.
I do. This isn't, and it's not spawned by the HR request. This is when we were talking about the competition between spending money going to space versus exploring the deep sea.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, that's just such a trap to fall into, right? And I think, Chad, I think you nailed it a lot better with your Black Hawk comment. It's not that we should be,
One or the
fighting
other, it
amongst
should be
the
both.
science dollars.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and I kind of regret having gone there a little bit because it really is just national priority is skewed.
I don't regret it at all. I definitely feel very strongly about that. And I, if anything, toned it down a little.
Wow.
Your rantiness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I look at our research budget, and for the sanctuary, it's literally zero now. I mean, the only thing that we can spend money on is staff time, so we already have salaries, right? And we do have a research vessel. It's a nice 67-foot catamaran we can take up and down the coast, but we can't even get time on that anymore because that costs $3,000 a day to run. It's it's really, really sad. So we're really relying on a lot of our partners and comrades to do a lot of this work. We used to have at least a couple $100,000 a year to do research. It's literally zero now. Zero. So
Thank you, budget cuts.
very frustrating. Yeah, it's federal government, right? And when you look at the federal government, budget cuts, sciences, especially ocean sciences, not having to do with weather or forecasting for typhoons or hurricanes or whatever. It's just cut. That's the fat that's cut, and it's unfortunate. So.
But I'm convinced there are so many cures for illnesses and stuff like that just hanging out under the water there.
Yeah, they found a lot of them in different tropical sponges and all sorts of stuff. And now we're talking about these deep sea sponges that have barely been studied. I mean, who knows if that also, harbors cancer treatments or what have you.
How about those carnivorous sponges? That was sweet.
Oh man, those carnivorous sponges are awesome. So we saw some of those too on this trip.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, they are
I just like to
freaking-
picture a sponge, and I know this isn't what's happening, but I like to picture it just going, "Ow."
Yeah, we also had the Venus flytrap anemone on this cruise. A lot of them.
God.
So yeah, they're no different than a normal anemone, but they look like the Venus flytrap, you know. So something falls in them and they actually close, like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're so awesome.
I want to see a giant clam in real life. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, the ones in the tropics, man, they get huge, don't they?
Yeah.
Like you can fit
Yeah.
a person inside them or something.
Yeah.
I would not try that.
Get your leg caught? No.
Yeah, no. Don't want to try that.
Oh, did you? I just saw this on YouTube today. It came across. There was this guy in Australia, and he was putting a GoPro on his head. He was with his buddies, and it was in Sydney Harbor, and he jumped off the cliff, just with his GoPro on. He lands in the water, and then he immediately surfaces, and you hear him yell, "Shark! Shark! Shark! Shark!" He immediately turns back around into the water, puts his head back down, and this huge great white swims right by him. And then after it kind of disappears, he turns around, he starts swimming to shore, but alertly he kept checking, right? Because he didn't want to turn his back to the shark. So then
Right.
he turned back again, put his head underwater. The thing was coming right at him. Scary as hell. And you see his feet kicking at the shark. He didn't actually kick him, but the shark kind of, was like, oh, okay, maybe I won't check you out. He veered off to the right, and then he finally made it to shore. It
Oh
was
my God.
harrowing. Oh my God. I mean, literally, he jumped in right where a great white was. I mean, the timing
Oh
couldn't
my
have been
God.
worse for him, but
Wow.
That's
So, Blair?
terrifying.
Blair,
Yeah.
just in the 20 seconds that have passed since you said you wanted to go underwater and see a giant clam,
Yeah.
you still want to make that dive?
Of course I do.
Okay, all right, just checking.
How could you ask such a question? I really want to go in a submersible though. That's really what I
That
want to
would
do.
be so cool.
Oh yeah.
That would be really cool. For shark diving, a friend of mine was like, for his 40th birthday this summer, he's like, I want to go dive with the sharks down by the Farallones. And there are these trips you can take where you go in a cage and be in a cage, and they are right in the sharks. And I don't think I could do that. I mean, number one, I don't know how to scuba dive, and snorkeling bothers me. So
Oh,
that would be
snorkeling
problem
bothers
number
you.
one.
just number one, it would be a really uncomfortable experience because I wouldn't know what I was
Snorkeling
doing.
bothers you.
Yes. Because I don't like it when the waves crash and the water gets down in the snorkel and then I have to go and get it out. I get really claustrophobic. And so I end up doing a lot of like panicking in the water.
Well, then you probably wouldn't like scuba either.
Right? Right.
Wait, here's the question.
I probably would not like being in a cage with the sharks.
Couldn't you get just like a longer snorkel? Because, yeah, I mean, I agree. Most snorkels allow you to put
Like
your
a
head
snuba?
halfway underwater to maintain.
Those are called snubas.
Couldn't you get, like a 20-foot snorkel?
Yeah.
Well, no, they had like she was saying, scuba. Yeah, you can pump air down to you through a hose.
Yes.
But
This is
I'd rather have the air on my back personally. But
Yeah, if something happened, oh my gosh, you're separated from the air, and then you're with the sharks in a cage.
Ah!
Think of all the things that could go wrong. This is not something.
Think about all the things that could go wrong in anything.
Most of them do not involve great white sharks
no.
and
What
me
about-
in a cage.
But Kiki, would you go into space? There's no oxygen there either.
I don't know if I would go into space at this
Okay.
point in time. I am not like excited to like.
Kirsten has
Get
heard
in a
me talk
craft.
too much.
No, I think, once all the technology is worked out and we're doing, I'm not a beta tester when it comes to things like this.
Yeah. But people have been
know?
cage
Way to put
diving
it.
with sharks for a really long time.
People have been what?
Cage diving with sharks for like decades.
Yeah, but there's a reason that we haven't populated the bottom of the ocean. There's a reason why we don't have a colony on Mars yet. I mean, these are inhospitable environments. I knew this guy that was a Navy welder, and he used to tell me all of these horror stories about divers coming up too fast, pressurization differences, just all this stuff. It's terrifying stuff. In space, yeah, you got radiation, you got any little rupture gets rid of all your oxygen. Neither place is really what we evolved to exist in, so they do require large amounts of technology to overcome.
Well, I will say that a lot of places on this planet are outside of what we evolved or adapted to exist in, but we use technology all the time to be able to get us to places that we exist in quite readily now.
Yeah, but I'm not going to get a bubble in my brain taking a flight from Greenland to California. It's just I'm going to be okay.
Most likely, yeah.
Most likely. There's always that chance.
There's that chance. All right, it's 10:30 now, and I'm going to get my child-free dessert fix.
Hey, Kiki, did you want to go to bed?
I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to eat dessert.
That's something you want right now?
I'm going to go to bed, and I'm going to dream about groups of spiders with a leader telling them what to do.
And a megaphone?
Yes. The leader will have a megaphone saying something about, you will never take our freedom. You can,
you will
Braveheart
eat all of your innards.
That's right. And then
tract.
And I will find myself in that dream also in a cage, unable to breathe, being attacked by sharks. So
nice.
I am looking forward to sleep tonight.
Sweet dreams.
As always, Blair's Animal Corner creates sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams, everyone. Thank you, Chad, for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, guys. I really enjoyed it. I've been, like I said, long-time listener. Thank you so much. And, yeah, let me know if you guys head down to the aquarium. And, that's where I work.
We're all like, yeah, we will. That's
Don't
done.
even joke about that.
No, seriously.
No, seriously.
Oh my god, so Chad said that we could come in. Is that cool with you guys?
Like, oh my god.
They're like, oh, that jerk again? God, he's
Like, oh my god, I just want to see some fish.
I'm here for the tuna sandwich.
That's right.
I don't actually
Justin's
want
here
to
for the
tour
tuna
anything
sandwich.
else. Is it possible just to get a commissary pass? I just want to go to the cafeteria and have that tuna.
I really want to cuddle an otter. Can I do that?
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, and the vocal fry comes out at the end of the show. I do love it.
Little teaser.
Little teaser, vocal
Oh my
fry.
god, can I swim with those sharks? Like, I think it would be really cool if I could swim with those sharks right now. Where's your great white shark? Why is it so small?
I've heard that before. When they've had the great white, they're like, why is it so small?
Oh my god, I thought it would be like Jaws or something.
Yeah.
Can I fish in the tanks?
That's
I
awesome.
want to fish from your tanks.
No.
These are all of the normal aquarium questions. Where's Nemo right now? Can I have that as a pet? That otter looks really cute and fluffy.
Too many questions from the public. Have you gotten, huh?
A couple, like one or two, maybe.
Is that alive? That's totally dead. Do fish sleep? Oh my god, that rockfish is totally
Wait a second.
dead.
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I don't work in an aquarium. Do fish sleep?
If a shark stops moving, will it die?
I've heard that. Is that true? No, these are good questions. I have all these questions.
Did you cut that sunfish's tail off?
This is
keep
too
going.
rich. Too rich.
I know. You can keep going. Blair's like, I can keep going. I got more.
There's so
my
many more.
God.
No, we're going to bed.
Going to bed. All right, everybody.
All right.
Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for
Can I
sticking
touch
with
that?
Is that a question you received at the aquarium?
Oh man.
And
Justin, really?
and we're
Did
the,
you laugh?
And we're done.
we're the
Good night,
talking
everybody.
about an
Good night, everyone. But thanks everyone for a good
Hang
show.
on, I gotta take a call from HR. Hang on.
Right.
Yeah,
Huh?
Justin, HR is going to be talking to you.
Right.
Oh.
That was a legitimate question. It was you taking it totally out of context.
So now we
you
need
thought I meant that?
to hire a PR
That says
person
more about you than it does about me. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
so that
Okay.
I can file a grievance.
Yeah,
right?
That's
talk,
right.
talk to you in the
Okay.
meeting. Yeah. I didn't even know we had an HR department till tonight.
Patreon.
You'll learn tonight.
All right. For
All right.
real.
Thank
let's
you
go.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So
Bye.
much fun. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Good night.